Sorry for the computer noises. Getting the hand tracking working again. It's gonna be one of those nights. So I'm afraid that tonight I will be streaming sick. Not quite sure with what yet. It's just starting, but it's there. Which is why we will be doing a reaction stream. I don't normally do full, like just react content. But I think tonight I'm gonna need to. Just something easy to do to let me keep streaming without missing a whole lot. So I should be getting the last couple things up. We're doing a lot of I'm streaming to a lot of places tonight because I've added another place to stream to in the form of VStream, which is a dedicated VTuber streaming platform. So if you want to go there to have a look, you are welcome to. Now, where is that window so we can get this rolling? Because I think I have everything set now. Of course, it's on the one screen I can't see. There we go. Well, I hope tonight finds everyone better than it finds me, at least. All right. And I've played with the audio settings again, so you're going to have to let me know if this works. Okay. Assuming this is working, I'm mildly concerned that I haven't seen any responses yet. Maybe it's just because I haven't left the starting soon screen, which, yeah, give me a sec. Face tracking's almost set. Okay. Great. Now why isn't the face tracking working? Come on. Okay. It's just because Apple products suck. That's why the face tracking isn't working. Okay, I think it's fixed. Someone is going to have a conniption over that. Good. Really? Again? Thank you. Okay. We should be working. All streams should be live. All 10 of them now. There's no one really in the VStream chat, but yeah, my wings are going to become an increasing problem unless I rearrange how I do stuff. I just had this working. Come on! Are you kidding me? Okay. Almost there. Now we're there. Okay. Trying to keep the smile on, but it is not easy. Man. Hello. Okay. So, arm tracking fixed-ish. All 10 streams live. Because I haven't thrown enough at the wall yet. Trying to keep in the happier side. Tonight is just going to be a bunch of reactions, as I said, because I am not feeling well, and I just don't have it in me to really get into a lot. We're starting with the first part of Zach's gun rants. I've seen the first of these. I have not seen all of them, but I know that I can talk about a lot of what's in here. So we're just going to start from the beginning. Yeah, I don't know if you could. Yeah, you could see the hands there. Okay. Sorry, I don't know how my new audio settings are actually handling that clap. I hope that wasn't too loud. So, yeah, I guess at this point we just roll into it. I don't really have any announcements. Well, I guess we could just do a brief talk about what's going on. I don't know how many people saw what happened in Twitch over the past 48 hours. Well, for the past week. It's been more than 48 hours, but things really kicked off in the past 48 hours. Hands far enough from the mic, not cause problem. Good. So, basically, it really, yeah. I mean, I'm on Twitch cause spaghetti method. Throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. I have no Twitch loyalty. Also, I admit I'm a little bit salty because Twitch, I've qualified for affiliate for like a year and they haven't actually let me be affiliate to earn money anyways, which is why I don't follow any of the rules because I didn't agree to them, so screw you. I'm going to get banned one of these days from them. Anyways. So, it went viral that there were a lot of topless people. One in particular was in the clip that really went viral, but it was in general just a viral thing. That I am not trying to make money streaming. So yeah, you on the other hand are stuck on platform. Yep, which is why I'm on 10 different platforms. Twitch ban celebrations. If I actually get banned from Twitch, I will probably do something to try to celebrate and also get attention to my other stream platforms. Anyways, so so a ton of topless streams that were just not just on the platform, but flat out being promoted. Like when you clicked on the platform, they were front and center, even when you weren't logged in, even when you were on a stream where you were set up as like a 14-year-old, which of course Twitch has gotten in all kinds of trouble from various other adult things on the platform that either weren't punished or very lightly punished. And so the joke was the new Twitch meta. Focus on Kick, and a couple good streamers to stop chasing Twitch to found six. Yep, I am on Kick. Right, I am on Kick. Kick is one of the many streams that I'm on. Anyways, where the joke was, the meta was to do what they were doing, where you're topless but you're just barely under. And I joked that yep, up to is on Kick too. And I joked that I could do that because I do have a flip switch. That I would be doing that too, but I knew that. But we all know Twitch has a very strong anti-VTuber bias, so it was a joke. I wasn't actually going to try to push my luck there. And it's not for those of you who don't know, it's not a topless thing. It's just a switch to female model. But like I said, I was never going to do it because Twitch has a very strong anti-VTuber bias, which is proven by how they handled things. I don't know. You haven't missed much. I'm just doing some pre-stream ranting before getting to the reacts. Anyway, up to good fun to stream. I'm nervous because I one-hand funding, but on the other, Anyways. So that was the joke, and there were a ton of VTubers who were doing the same thing, saying, okay, it's female model time, it's topless time, it's just move the model down just enough time, that kind of stuff. Except, like I said, Twitch has a very strong anti-VTuber bias. That's a good way to just get nuked. Well, Twitch, rather than punish all the topless, naked women streaming, IRL streamers streaming, they decided to change the rules. Not your do me a check. Well, I'm a guy. The gender flip thing for me is just because it's funny and may or may not bring in views. Anyways. Lost my train of thought, which is going to be much worse than normal. Who am I talking to? On Rumble. I can't get the Rumble chat up on stream unless I'm just like clipping a section of it, which maybe I'll change up and do, though we're already getting cluttered pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm talking to people on Rumble. Yeah, I'm a guy. I use a male model normally. The female model, for me at least, is just supposed to be for fun. Anyways. What was I? Oh yeah, so there was a lot of talks about that. Like I said, I jokingly had mentioned it, but wasn't really seriously thinking about. Well, I was half seriously thinking about it just cause. But they changed the rules and said you are not allowed. I mean, that you are now allowed for, quote, artistic nudity. And of course, all the IRL streamers who are just streaming naked were considered artistic. Now, a number of VTubers, I won't be naming anyone, did push the boundaries well beyond what even the rules said and got banned. But a lot of actual artists who were included in the rules got banned, But there's something that's very, very interesting about how the rules are written, because the rules actually exempted VTubers from the beginning. It wasn't in the main rule. You had to click in the little FAQ to get clarification to see that VTubers, there was no interpretation that allowed VTubers to benefit from the new rules. Period. So not only were the VTubers who were pushing their luck and getting people in trouble, but they weren't included in the rule change anyways. VTubers were not allowed to benefit from the artistic nudity thing. And there was a whole ton of bans on VTubers and on artists who were actually theoretically supposed to be the people included in the rule change. As it was written, it was supposed to be for people drawing. The only people who didn't get banned were the naked IRL streamers. Well, in 24 hours, Twitch realized this wasn't going to work because of all the backlash, because of all the bans, and because of all the people that were pushing their luck. And so they've already backtracked. On Wednesday, they made the new rule change. On Thursday, they made the rule change. Friday, today, they reversed it and said, okay, we're not going to do this again. They have been unbanning some people, but for the most part, it just turned into an excuse to punish VTubers and artists, even the ones who weren't misinterpreting the rules and pushing it too far. And so that's just a catch up on VTuber news. I tried to warn people. Actually, I was going around trying to warn some people about what was going on, and it was just a lot of them listened, and I'm really thankful to that. But there were some people who didn't listen. There are some people who were just flat out banning people, trying to warn them, which, yeah, that's great. Future VTuber, there's a huge market for it on Rumble, but there's some breaking through that platforms. Yeah, I understand that Rumble as a VTuber is probably not the strongest VTuber platform to be on, but like I said, I can stream to Rumble, so I'm going to stream to Rumble, So that's, I think, that's the very short version without any citations or naming names about what's happened over the past 48 hours. But man, Twitch, they can't do it right. Oh, have you told folks about VStream? I briefly mentioned it, but I do need to. Yeah, glad you're here. Glad to meet you. Yep, glad to have you here too. Thank you. It is. I do need to do something about Rumble chat. I admit I was a little bit lazy in looking for a good way to get it on screen, specifically because I wasn't having any chatters. So I'll see if I could do something for Sunday. But yeah, I briefly mentioned VStream. A bell. Rumbot? Is that a thing? I haven't heard of it, but give me a sec. I find stuff like all the time because people suggest it. So let me see. Rumbot. Rumble video viewer bot. Ooh, I'm gonna save this for later. Thank you. That may be just what I need. I'll look into that for Sunday. Now, someone rang a bell? What? How do you... On DLive, which is another platform. 2 bells! Thank you for the bells. What are the bells? The bells, 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 bells. I'm not singing it. Christmas themed, renamed lemons. Oh, okay, bells are 1 lemon. Okay, well, thank you for the bells, I think. What almost all the stream users on Rumble. Yeah. I will definitely look into that for Sunday then. Thank you. So lemons are now bells. Thank you for the bells. Much appreciated. And yeah, Blue Kitty brought it up. I'm now streaming to VStream, which is a dedicated VTuber specific streaming platform. And so if you haven't, and it is both streams and like media, not media, yeah, social media posts type stuff, like a Twitter feed, whatever, but for VTubers. That is a place where you can now find me. I'm looking into it. I do think that they are making the same mistake that a lot of other alternative streaming platforms have made, where they have a decently difficult bar for a brand new person to get over before they can get to monetization. I always think that bar should be really low or non-existent, specifically because of the fact that the sooner you get your creators monetized, the sooner you are making money off the monetization. So for me, looking at it with the 300 followers in order to reach monetization, I am a little bit like, come on, don't make the same mistake everyone else does. But as a platform itself, just in general, it has my attention. Blue Kitty's the one that told me about it, so thank you to Blue Kitty. I do like how the platform is built and how it looks and how it's set up. So it's like I've got the one complaint, but that's it so far, I think. And they're not the only platform that does it, so it's not like it's a platform specific thing. Rumble is the only place I monetize right now. Because they don't have a bar. Yeah, I like setup and that I can upload my. Yep, I like that it's streaming, uploads, and social media feed all in one. So I haven't added anything but the channel trailer. I'm gonna work on trying to upload some of my backlog. I know I need to do that for Rumble too. That's gonna be fun. Just a couple 100 hours worth of streams from the past 3 years. But I'm going to give it a shot. Rumble Studio is in the works too. They're going to be adding a lot of features and customization for your streams and videos. I will look into it. Now, as a warning, if it's something that I have to use instead of OBS for broadcasting, that's probably not going to happen unless I can stream to multiple platforms. That's always a bit of an issue because I multi-stream, and so I need to use a streamer that lets me do that. Good morning. Hello. Oh, thank you for following. Hey, where's my alert? Where's my alert? Up to, no, you're not to. Up to is everywhere. There's supposed to be an alert. Did my alert go for you guys? I'm supposed to be able to hear it too. Where's my alert? Why don't I have an alert? Oh, the alert did go off? Why didn't I hear the alert? Flashed a bit on screen? Oh, okay. I was supposed to hear the alert too, but as long as you guys could see the alert, I guess that's good. Wonder why I didn't hear the alert. Now for the longest running gag in the stream, Ziztech hates him. Yeah. Okay, you were supposed to hear it too, but as long as there was some alert going, I know it's not completely broken, but I'm gonna have to look into that because there's supposed to be sound and visual. Restream bot is a bot. It's what I use for the multi-streaming and chat and stuff. Also, it's going to have a store in it. Sorry, Rumble, but doesn't work with you. But it's something I'm working on. Okay, did I miss anything while I was panicking over the lack of an alert? But welcome, Vecchia 1X. Hi. We're about to get started with the actual react. Oh, hey, chat this time. Everyone's on Rumble now. Video viewing, of course. All right. Must get you pennies on the hours. Hey, 28 cents is 28 cents more than I've earned on any other platform. Why is this never set up? Why do I have to do this every time? Can't you just stay set up, please? Thank you. All right, now, unfortunately, I have to do that, which makes me sad. Ooh, 28 cents, let's go. Sorry, he's very underpaid, but is he at least getting paid? Yeah. 28 cents on Rumble. That's not including donations. If we count donations, things change. But yeah, for actually getting paid, it's 28 cents to nothing for any other platform. I'm gonna have to change this. I don't think it matters right now because there's no one chatting in VStream, at least that's coming through on my chat. But I'm definitely gonna have to work on my arrangement. I really hope I don't end up having to commission a new layout. I really don't want to have to do that. This was money. So yes, on to the actual plan for tonight. Part 1 of what are we up to? 6? Yeah, he just released another one 11 days ago. 6 Zach gun rants. He works hard for the money, so hard for honey. He works. Anyways, so yeah, on to part 1 of Zach's gun rants.
So I'm gonna go on a slight rant about guns here.
No one likes it when you do that. Keep it in your pants.
There is
Everyone likes it when he
no
does
reason
that.
to make a light infantry weapon that is in 308 full auto. It is pointless.
Why not?
Let's say you're gonna shoot at that right there on the car.
Okay.
By round 3, you're up here.
Yes, you are.
Okay, because it's a powerful kick, you mean?
Yes, especially on a G3, which is roller delayed blowback. It is an incredibly violent recoil.
What if you found a way to suppress the recoil? Then it would make sense, wouldn't it?
Not really, because it's kind of hard unless your rifle.
Oh, thank you for the follow. Okay. I didn't quite catch who said it, but at least we got noise this time. Haha.
It's just really, really heavy.
So you're saying any weapon with automatic fire that has recoil is bad, huh?
No, just 308. Anytime I fired a G3 on full auto, I had to brace myself in like the weirdest way possible just to be able to get multiple rounds on target.
Maybe it's just because you're weak.
The problem was they started making in
Oh,
like the
you're wrong.
1950s.
Another platform. Well, thank you. Thank you for following again, and I'm sorry for missing that. Following Shameless Haynes. Ooh, more follows and more noise. Yay! Shameless Haynes, also thank you for the follow. Much appreciated.
In the 60s, they started making all of these infantry weapons in 308, and then making them full auto because they were like, oh, well, we'll just put it on a bipod and then we can use it in full auto. But the problem is nobody would ever put them on the bipods. They would just shoot them on full auto and then wouldn't hit anything.
Yep, that's about
Well,
right.
FAL is a little bit better, but that's only because its fire rate is higher, so you can kind of get one more round on target before it goes whap all the way into the sky. That's why
Never
I'm
tired of
happy that it's semi-auto. This gun looks really good, though. I do like the G3.
You like the sleek design, or you like the way they perform?
I think they look cool.
The G3 and FAL are generally considered well-loved for the heavy caliber guns that they are. I do not know a lot of the reasons why besides like reliability and effectiveness, which I guess are pretty much good reasons on their own, though that's just like a generic thing. I don't know the details of the reliability and effectiveness. Now, as a little bit more detail for what they were thinking when those weapons were developed, though, they were developed as well as alongside other weapons like the M14 to sort of be the modern Browning automatic rifle. The militaries wanted to combine the concept of the M1 Garand and the BAR into one rifle. They were lighter, better, and easier to use than the World War II battle rifles they replaced. Yeah, this is true. They were lighter than the BAR, similar to something like M1 Garand, but and they now had removable, replaceable box magazines. But the idea was, the intent was for them to serve both purposes in one weapon. You could fire them semi-automatic as the infantry weapon, or you could use them on a bipod or in bursts in walking fire. The problem was no one was trained how to do that, and even that, then the M14 gunners were only sometimes trained for that kind of fire anyways, so they ended up just being used in full automatic by everyone because, hey, I have a full automatic weapon, why not just use it like that? Just say they were Frankensteining and Igor dropped someone's brains during the recoil. Yeah, pretty much. Trovo's a little bit weird, but it's a platform I can stream to, so I'm going to stream to it. But yeah, Trovo's a little bit weird. I haven't quite gotten my head wrapped around it yet. But welcome. Hi. But yeah, they 308 is a huge round for a full automatic. It's not Igor, it's Igor. 308 is a huge round for a fully automatic, like shoulder-fired battle rifle / assault rifle. It's not the greatest choice in the world. But yeah, they were thinking stuff like using it as the BAR whenever they designed it, and then it didn't get used as the BAR. BARs got used as BARs still, because they're heavier and easier to control.
Mossberg 590.
Is that a good weapon or not?
I personally am not a big fan of Mossberg 590. I like the Remington 870 better, but
What do you prefer about the Remington over the Mossberg?
steel receiver as opposed to an aluminum receiver of the Mossberg.
that
Also, the Mossbergs feel kind of clanky.
Is it significant difference or a slight difference?
No, it's barely any difference. It's personal preference.
So it's basically the same thing as a Remington then?
Kind of. The bolt is a little different and some of the other stuff. The barrel shroud is just a heat shield.
So prevent.
Okay, before we get to that, the only thing I know about the Mossbergs is that the Mossberg 500 series is the single most manufactured shotgun in history. That's all I know.
Prevents it from overheating.
No, it keeps you from putting your hand on the barrel when it's real hot.
Oh, so it's a barrel guard?
Yeah, heat shield. I had a guy come in one day and was like, hey, you got any of those shotguns with a cheese grater on them?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
cheese
this.
I'm like,
grater?
what? He's like, yeah, you got a shotgun with a cheese grater on it. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Why would you put a cheese grater in a shotgun, you idiot? And then I realized that he wanted a shotgun with a heat shield.
Was he
And
using
we were
his
talking about
rifle
heat
to
shield. I forgot we
carve
talked
up
about cheese graters.
I don't know, probably.
Is that why he needed a new one?
Maybe. Yeah, Mossberg 590. Pretty cool.
Okay, I am gonna say something. Calling the heat shield, the kind with all the circles in it, a cheese grater is actually not that far off. There's a reason they're not very popular. The circle heat shields are actually really, really hard on your hands because they do kind of act like cheese graters. There's a reason why many different heat shield patterns have been developed as an alternative to the circle to the heat shield with the circles in it.
I like it.
Did the Germans or the Russians invent it?
It's an American shotgun.
Oh, so it was made by Heckler and Weston?
No, it was made by Mossberg. Where are you even getting this from?
How vain do you have to be to name your rifle after yourself?
It was Mossberg and Sons. This is
Everyone
the name of
names
the
their
company.
guns
Did they
after
invent it in the year
themselves. Who do you
590?
think Colt is?
No.
You don't know? Yes, they did then.
No, they didn't invent it in the year 590. The Mossberg 590's been around since, I don't know, the 60s, 70s maybe?
Why did they call it the Mossberg 1960s?
I have no idea, because different companies name their guns different things. Glocks are named after what patent number it is. That's why the Glock 17 is the 17. It has nothing to do with mag size. If anybody tells you that the Glock 17 is named that because it holds 17 rounds in the magazine, they don't know what they're talking about.
No, I think
Indeed.
you're right. The Mossberg 590, after 589 failed attempts at getting a patent.
No! You're wrong.
I'm not sure the differences between a muzzle brake and a choke.
Savage, Remington, Colt, Smith & Wesson. Yep, those are all. There's a whole lot more too. As my brain just immediately shuts down because those are my immediate go-to. Mosin Nagants, made by Mosin and Nagant. Kalashnikov, ta-da. Yeah, you can go on and on. Crap. I had it and then I lost it. Another revolver one. Screw me. Come on, really? Short version is, I think maybe like half of all gun manufacturers, maybe 2/3 are named after the person that came up with anything with Browning in the name. That's not who I was trying to think of, but that's an easy one. Russian Mosin and Belgian Nagant brother. Yep. Not even getting into the Chinese knockoffs yet.
Choke, sadly.
A choke is basically a very shallow funnel that you put on the inside of the barrel that's going to compress the shot and the wadding before it leaves the barrel.
So it pretty much makes the shotgun shell a slug of sorts?
No, it just keeps it more tightly clustered together.
Yeah, like a slug.
No, because it's still going to open up the moment it leaves the barrel.
Oh, so it's just a delayed explosion. What does the other thing do then?
A muzzle brake just vents the exhaust gases out the side of the barrel.
I knew it. Putting holes in your weapon makes it better.
No, it doesn't. Oh my god. Technically, you're correct. Yes.
That's the best kind of correct.
Technically, putting holes in the end of your barrel does mitigate recoil somewhat, but not putting holes in it willy-nilly.
You never know until you try.
Oh my god, Mike. Behold, Mike, the Mateba Model 6 Unica.
I want
Never
one
heard
of
of
these
that gun
so
before.
bad.
It's a revolver, and its name means you are unique.
I will never have the money for
Okay.
one, but I want
Yeah, it was
one.
Gun's creator telling the gun that it was unique. Fun fact about the Mateba Model 6 Unica, it fires out of the bottom cylinder.
Oh, so not at the top cylinder like most revolvers?
Yep, fires out of the bottom cylinder. Also, it's a semi-automatic revolver.
So it's not necessarily good, it's just different for the sake of being different.
Well, having it fire out of the bottom cylinder is a good thing because it reduces flip-up.
then why don't all of them do that?
Because it requires a lot more work and you gotta kind of move shit around a lot.
So it's not necessarily better.
Not necessarily. Yeah, it's a revolver that uses gas pressure of the cartridge firing to cock the hammer back, so it fires on single action every shot.
Why would a 6-shot single-action revolver be semi-automatic?
It just cocks the hammer back every time.
Oh, so you don't have to recock it?
Yeah, so you don't have to pull the hammer back every single time.
Oh, well, that sounds great. Why don't all revolvers do that?
Because it's really complicated. It's a lot of extra work and a lot of extra parts to put into a gun, so it didn't really catch on. Also, it looks weird.
Weird is cool.
Yeah,
You want
weird
a
is cool.
Mateba, you pretty much just have to get a Chiappa Rhino, because Matebas are almost impossible to find.
I've never
And they get a premium.
I believe it. I've never even heard of the Mateba.
I think its biggest claim to fame is that it was in the Ghost in the Shell movie from like the 1980s.
Ah, so a whole 12 people saw it.
Wow, man. Way to just completely crap on my childhood.
Am I Zach on this?
Oh, the
Okay. Now, I know a lot of people have been confused by what he's talking about with the hammer and the semi-automatic. So, this whole upper assembly, when you fire, recoils back like a standard automatic handgun, which cocks the hammer. This whole thing just moves back when you fire and then forward again. And the difference with single action and double action is with single action, that's like in cowboy movies where you pull the hammer back and then you fire. The trigger pull on those is typically really, really light, so it doesn't take a lot to pull the trigger, which also helps the gun with accuracy. Because a very light trigger pull helps your hand stay a lot more steady when you fire. Double action, which a lot of people see as semi-automatic, is when you pull the trigger, it pulls the hammer back as you pull the trigger and then lets go when you finish pulling the trigger. Yes, this is similar in that every time you pull the trigger, it fires the gun. You don't need to manually cock the hammer back, but it is significantly heavier. It takes a lot more force in order to pull the hammer. Now, this isn't necessarily force in terms of, oh my gosh, I can't pull this back, unless you're firing some absolutely insane thing. But it does, it doesn't take a lot to destabilize even a very strong hand and wrist in terms of accuracy. And so a double action revolver is just going to be that little bit less accurate compared to single action. So a mechanism that turns it into single action every time is really, really cool. You could argue it's completely unnecessary from a practical point of view, but it is really, really cool. Lovely Fosbury 38 automatic, 8-shot. They don't make them anymore, as it should be in the book.
Atsuba, yes, that weapon was featured in episode 14 of The Snorks. What new weapon are you using now?
This is the Beretta M92FS.
Isn't that the standard issue police weapon?
No, standard issue, it was the... Ah! Stop resisting! Gun! I'm gonna go through ammo for this thing pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, if you keep spraying it like that.
Well, it takes a lot of bullets to take one of those things down. You ever try to kill a plant with a gun? It's not very effective. Next time you try to weed your front lawn, try using a pistol to do it. The entire time I was in the military,
neighbors know what you're up to.
Man, the M9's a piece of garbage. Why would anybody use this hunk of junk? And then when I got out of the military, I was like, man, the M9's awesome. I love this handgun.
Maybe that's not a testament to the weapon's strength.
I think the main problem is that in the military, it's a military issued one. So it's not exactly well made. And also,
That's suspicious.
It's not exactly well made. It's used by soldiers who beat the crap out of it. It's all old parts. Also,
this is why military grade is not always a good thing. Agreed.
Great civilian handgun.
Military grade means built by the lowest bidder. Only AGL Arms 45 Long Colt. It is not. That is, I think, not the only other low barrel pistol. I think there's several other models, and I do not know enough about any of them to talk about it further. I think, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple other models, all equally as rare.
But a terrible. Oh my god! You're not proving my point here. Combat handgun. It's got too many parts. Good lord. What is happening? Die! 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 Help! Help! Help
He's having
me!
a bad day.
So it's not only a bad herbicide, but a bad pesticide as well. Oh, what are you using now?
This is the AN-94. They put pulleys in it so that it fires one round, then the barrel starts recoiling backwards, and then it fires the second round. So you get 2 rounds firing out of it before the recoil impulses.
Only one I know off the
Did
top of
they
the head. That's
invent
bad.
that before gas pistons were a thing?
It was an attempt to increase the hit probability of, hang on, the hit probability of the average soldier.
Did it
What?
work? Did they succeed?
Yeah, except that the gun is incredibly complicated and very expensive. So it was adopted by the Russian military for about a day, and then it wasn't. Yeah, I like the rear sight on the AN-94. It's cool.
It looks like it's lopsided.
It is. It's kind of off.
Up to a surprise that Micah Marine knows the words herbicide and pesticide. They do refer to at some point his crayon eating tendencies. Also, not mentioned, I don't think, is the fact that those first two shots the AN-94 fires are actually faster than its regular rate of fire. It fires its first two shots really, really quickly, one after another, and then the rest of its automatic fire is actually slower. I think it's actually pretty close to the M3 grease gun in terms of standard rate of fire after the first two shots. So it fires the first two shots at like, I think I'm guessing around here, at something like 1,200 rounds per minute, and then slows down to 300 rounds per minute.
Off to the side, but you rotate this little piece right there to whatever range you're aiming at.
Oh, you hold it like a gangster sideways so the
No, it's
sight
not-
straight side up.
No, it's the correct way. It's just the sight is just there.
Look at it. I can see
So
it.
2-round bursts are
crooked.
best? Yes.
It's not crooked. I'm looking through this top part of it right here, and then it's got an angle like that. So when you rotate it, it's always in the correct position.
2-round bursts are
Yes,
best.
it's weird. It's a weird gun. That's why I grabbed it, cause it's weird.
Weird doesn't mean useful. Weird doesn't mean it's
Actually,
good.
in firearms,
Do you
it
have a
often
lot of ammo
does.
that you want to get rid of quickly? Do you have a bunch of enemies that you want to throw lead at as fast as humanly possible? Do you hate that guy over there and you want him to be just absolutely suppressed for the next 3.5 minutes? Then buy the PKM light machine gun. Standing for words in Russian that I don't understand, PKM is an acronym. Using
I
a
once knew the
long-stroke
words, but I couldn't
gas-operated
tell you right
system
now.
With an open bolt assembly, the PKM is capable of throwing large amounts of ammunition at approximately anywhere from 650 all the way up to 800 rounds per minute.
Point the barrel at the thing you
I
want
don't
to
think
die,
that the gun
squeeze
has
the
any
trigger,
control
and
over
death
it.
comes out.
It just
Yes,
decides
pretty
what
much.
rate of fire it's
Would you
firing.
drop that Cyrog in the water.
I dropped it and I don't know where it went.
So 200 rounds per minute, then 300 rounds per minute, isn't it? No, 1,200 rounds per minute, then 300 rounds per minute. Two shots at, I believe, 1,200 rounds per minute. Then it down steps to 300 rounds per minute for as long as you hold the trigger.
Oh no! Ah, it's too bad.
It's God, I can't talk about it anymore if I don't have a visual aid.
Yeah, you could
Yeah,
just talk about how
1200
much you
is
love
a
the
lot
mouse button
faster.
again.
Yep, that is a Mauser broom handle.
Also known as the Type 22. Yes.
The-
You mentioned that the Chinese name all their weapons Type number.
Yeah, they do, and I don't know what the Chinese nomenclature for this pistol is. So
I thought it was Type 22, but maybe I'm getting my types confused.
I don't know. There's so many. I can't remember the names of all of them. They used it in World War One, and it was outdated in World War One.
And it was still one of the best automatic handguns in World War One. The Mauser broom handle gets crapped on because it is a very primitive automatic design, but the reality is it actually works really, really well. Just a lot of people don't like how big and clunky it is, but I think that that's for what it is and the time it's in. It's like there are many worse things to be than big and clunky.
What's not great
In
about it?
1914, this pistol was outdated.
What made it outdated? The fact that it only holds, what, 12 shots?
The real one holds, I think, 10 rounds. It's an internal magazine that you cannot remove. You have to load it with stripper clips.
Wait, what? You... Oh,
10,
God, it
20,
sounds
and 40.
terrible.
So then you have to take a stripper clip, which is just a long piece of metal with a bunch of bullets in it, and then push all the bullets down into the magazine with your thumb. And if you do it wrong, the bolt will close on your thumb.
Sounds so fun.
I like the BAR. I'm not a big fan of this specific model. I think this
6, 10, and 20. So, yes, for the original ones, excuse me. 6, 10, and 20. Then they were updated to the ones that did take external box magazines. Those are 10, 20, and 40. You are correct. Also, they got an automatic version, which fires, I think, 1,500 rounds per minute, and is absolutely nuts. I like the C96. Big and clunky, yes, but the gun is very reliable and just in general a cool, unique design since there are not very many forward magazine designs. I like it, and I like the weight as well because some of the calibers that you can get it in are really hot rounds, so the heavier weight makes it that much more controllable. It's a caveman, it's huge, it packs a wallop and will murder anything it hits. Yeah. some of the rounds that the C96 fires are nothing to sneeze at. The 45 ACP that many of them came in is actually considered the tame round for what it fires.
This is, I think this is the BAR A2, technically, and I'm not a big fan of the A2.
What's
I
the
like-
difference?
So the original BAR was substantially lighter. It had a bipod, but the bipod was removable. On the A2, they made the bipod non-removable, and it's freaking heavy. They also put a magazine adapter on it, which is also heavy.
There you go.
See that little thing on the top?
That's
of it?
all he had
The
to
little
say in the
curved
BAR.
portion that's kind of sticking the.
The 45 ACP is a rare Chinese copy. Well, there's original 45 ACP as well. I'm gonna double check myself, but I'm 99% sure that there is original. That there was also just original in 45 ACP as well. There was an official Chinese export model in 45 ACP. But those were manufactured in very large quantities because they were to supply a civil war. So there are Chinese copies of it, but during the second Sino-Japanese War and the Chinese Civil War, they were exporting them in regular 45 ACP, and they were bought in very large numbers. So there's actually a lot of 45 ACP Mausers. Well, there were a lot of 45 ACP Mausers made. There are less that it still exists because a lot of those were destroyed. A lot of them by the CCP, so, you know, make of that what you will. And here we have the grease
Wrong
gun.
direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's a safety.
That's a weird way to have a safety.
Yeah, the safety mechanism literally is the dust cover that you close it, and it keeps things from getting in there, and it also keeps the bolt from moving forwards.
Neat.
Also, there's no charging handle on this submachine gun. You just shove your finger into the ejection port and pull the bolt back.
You don't need to charge it. It's not an energy weapon.
Loading handle, Mike.
You want to debate guns for a while with someone who doesn't know anything about guns? Or you want to do some bounty hunting?
Fine,
He
let's
was
do
a
some bounty
Marine.
hunting.
Tell me about the Steyr AUG before you kill all of them.
Well, the Steyr AUG, AUG is technically an acronym for Army Universal Gewehr, and it was first adopted by the Austrian military in 1977.
One of the
so its
few
original
truly
name
good
was
bullpup
the
designs.
STG-77, which stands for Sturmgewehr 77. Yes, it's a very good rifle. It was very futuristic at the time of its release.
But it's not so much anymore. It does look...
It's still a pretty advanced automatic rifle. The Steyr AUG has what's called a progressive trigger, at least on the military models.
Ah, so it's very open towards gay marriage.
Also, yes, but the
I
trigger,
forgot
when
about
you
most
pull
of
it
these
back
jokes. It's
little
been a
bit
while.
until it clicks the first time, that's when it fires single shot. But if you pull it back all the way, it fires fully automatic. Another interesting fact about the Steyr AUG
I
is
do
that
have
it
some
is used by
concerns
both the
about that
Austrians
firing
and
mechanism.
The Australians.
So now it doesn't matter if you get those two confused.
Yes, exactly. The ones that's used by the Australians is technically
Yeah,
called
I think the
Aussteyr,
AUG is
so
still a very good design.
The Steyr AUG was the first bullpup to be adopted by a military. Well, it was the first bullpup to be widely adopted by a military. I think technically there was one before that, but it doesn't really count because
It was
adopted
British
by
and it was
Britain
bad.
for about 5 minutes and then wasn't adopted anymore. The first time I fired a Steyr AUG, it was one of the full auto ones, and the Austrians didn't tell me about the progressive
L86,
trigger
right? Pretty
for
sure
it.
it's L86.
Sorry, Australians. The Australians didn't tell me about the progressive trigger for it. So I'm just kneeling down on the firing range. I get behind this thing. I get it all scoped up, and I pull the trigger. I go, man, this trigger's really heavy. And I jerk it all the way back, and it goes... Then they laughed at me. So yeah, the Steyr
As
AUG is my
soldiers do.
favorite bullpup, other than a FAMAS, which you basically cannot get a FAMAS in the United States.
Much to
There's,
Ian's
I think, a
disappointment and
total of
scorn.
maybe 400 that exist in the U.S.
Wait, only 400 FAMASs?
Yeah, there's only like 400 that exist.
Why not more?
So the FAMAS was imported for
I'm
a very
surprised
short
no one's,
period
like,
of time.
Done a good
before
clone of the
there was
FAMAS
a
design.
ban on importing weapons. So there's only like 400 semi-automatic FAMASs that exist in the U.S.
So that must be a collector's treasure, huh?
Yes, they contract a premium $20,000.
Wow. You can't legally purchase them outside of the ones that are already here?
No, you can't, because
But
the
you
ones that were imported are the only ones that are ever going to be imported.
Well, I guess it's French, and a lot of people don't want to clone French weapons. That might be it.
God, I gotta get a new barrel for this thing. This rifling is just mad fucked.
You
I
couldn't
have seen
just
muskets
zero
with
it
better
in.
accuracy.
No, it's got terrible rifling on it.
Maybe you should keep better care of it.
Oh yeah, I'll just repair the rifling on my barrel, Mike.
You make it sound like that's a difficult thing to do, but I have no idea.
That's an impossible thing. Do we have access to a hammer forge, Mike? Where's your hammer forge? Why don't you just knock out a new barrel for your gun?
Got a workbench over here. It's close enough.
Does that look like a hammer forge to you?
Maybe the stove could function as a hammer forge.
That looks like an Uzi to me. Israeli Military Industries Uzi.
Watch out.
Uzi
One
is
of the SMGs of all
better
time.
submachine guns. A lot of different militaries actually ended up adopting it. I think the U.S. had it for a while.
Have you
Which-
fired an Uzi before?
I have.
I say that,
Did-
but
did you
for what
enjoy
it
the
is, the Uzi
experience?
is actually really,
alright.
really good.
When I hear submachine gun, I think at least 50 rounds in the clip.
Now,
The sub in submachine gun is actually indicative of the caliber. Sub-caliber weapon, so it's smaller than rifle caliber. Oh! Speaking of submachine guns that were available around the same time, I just found a Sten gun.
My name's Stan. Here's my gun.
So this is one of
welcome
the
to
other,
the bike shop
This
gun.
is one of the other submachine guns that was widely available around the time of the Uzi.
Is the magazine in there sideways?
Yes, it is. The magazine pokes out of the side.
It's not a handguard. It's not a thing you're
Was a
supposed to grab.
Marine. Yeah, Mike was a Marine.
Most soldier would just hold on to the magazine well.
Yeah.
when they shot it. The only submachine guns that were, again, widely available were things like the MP-18 and the Thompson submachine gun. Submachine guns that were quite large, pretty dang heavy, and expensive to manufacture because it required a lot of machining. The Sten gun, by comparison, is made basically out of a tube with a couple holes cut into it, a barrel, and then pressed pieces of sheet metal.
It's basically a pipe gun.
At the time they were making these things, they could probably knock out about 5 of them in an hour.
In a
Nice.
bike
You
shop.
could just slam these things together incredibly fast. The only complaint people had about them is if you're carrying one on a sling, there's really no good way to carry it. The sights bang into your stomach, and also it doesn't want to sit like that, so it keeps trying to roll over.
Mm-hmm.
If you carry it the other direction, the charging handle slams into your stomach. And if you carry it with the magazine pointing up, the trigger jams into your stomach. So there's no good way to carry this submachine gun.
And that's why it fell out of service and was replaced by the M16.
Go away, Mike.
No, it fell out of service because
Mike
machine
clearly
guns like
got
the Uzi
yes.
started coming about. And while this thing is a really good, incredibly cheap submachine gun that you can knock out thousands of them very quickly, it isn't that accurate. You can still find these things damn near everywhere. I found tons of them when I was in Iraq. Ones that were built in like the 40s and still were being used.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
I had one that was turned into me that had a built-in suppressor.
How do you make a built-in suppressor?
Basically, you drill a bunch of holes in the barrel and you add a suppressor to the end of it. I had one that had been camouflage painted, had an integral suppressor, and somebody had bolted a rail to the top and attached a laser sight to it.
A
And there
laser sight on a pistol that's 80 years old.
Yeah, on a submachine gun.
When you were taking inventory
be
of these
fair-
weapons, did you have to mark down details like that on the notes page?
Nope, I just remembered that. And they actually
Yeah, to be fair, the Sten gun is actually going to benefit from it because trying to shoulder that thing is miserable, as you can see. And yeah, these things were built and can still be built in bike shops. So they require very little anything to be built and can effectively be maintained if you have a hammer, a screwdriver, and a file. They're basically they're only about a half a step away from being a zip gun, mechanically speaking. But you can see they have just a tiny little barrel there. So they're not very accurate. You're going to spend a lot of time hip firing these because there's no point in firing from the shoulder. And the stock is absolutely miserable anyways. As many World War II designs were. Yeah, fair. And just to go back, yeah, I joke about the Uzi a lot. It is a decent submachine gun. Its big advantage is just the fact that it is so small and compact with a really high rate of fire. So at its optimum range, which is like 25 yards at max, it doesn't really matter that you're not going to hit with one bullet. You're just going to hit with volume of fire. That's all you need to worry about.
made I think 4 or 5 different stocks.
What
this?
stock? It looks like someone jammed a hanger in there.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a piece of wire. It was made to be cheap. Like I said,
Yep.
this gun was made to be cheap.
Yeah. Task accomplished,
It's
I
an
guess.
incredibly simple, cheap gun that was designed to arm Britain's soldiers with some type of submachine gun that didn't cost, at the time, one Thompson submachine gun.
Yeah, these are cheaper
cost
than the
as much
grease
as
gun.
about
And
10
remember, the
of
grease gun
these.
was what,
This
15
is
bucks?
a really good option.
It would be a better option if it were more accurate.
Doesn't really matter. Submachine guns are designed to be used at about 50 yards, and that's it.
Yeah, spray
That's
and pray guns.
50 yards
Pretty
is
much.
optimistic too.
I have shot both a Sten gun and an Uzi. If I was going to be armed with one of these 2 submachine guns, I think I'd probably take the Sten gun.
Fewer
You said that
parts,
the Sten
easier to
gun
maintain.
had only 40 moving parts, roughly, right?
It's well, like 40 parts
Hello!
total. There's barely any.
Hershey,
That
hi.
sounds like easy maintenance to me.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy to maintain.
Thank you for the follow.
No joke. If the recoil spring breaks on a Sten gun, you probably can go find a screen door and rip the spring off of that and shove
That's
it into
probably
the
what
gun.
the original
Didn't
spring
you
is
do
from.
that? You took a pencil
Again,
spring or something?
made in bike
Like a
shops.
mechanical pen spring in a Walther P38.
And it worked just as good, huh?
Yeah, it worked fine. Yeah, that'll hold it over until I can get a new spring.
It's really good at filling the enemies with hot lead.
Ah! Ooh! Ooh! Ooh, what you got? What you got here? What you got? Let me turn you over and take a look at this thing.
I
An
love this story.
L96A1. Are you
I
fucking
love this
kidding me?
story.
Never heard of that one.
L96A1.
That's got a nice scope on it, I see.
Yes, it does have a nice scope on it. Most people are going to know this thing as the Accuracy International AWP.
Most people wouldn't recognize it in this kind of view, but yes.
Oh, hello.
Okay, just gonna use this gun on him.
Well, they were hostile.
They didn't seem hostile until you shot them in the throat.
Wow, I suck with sniper rifles.
There you
There
go.
we go. You like that? What? Is there? There's another one. Oh, he's got an op too. This is gonna go right in your ear.
You waste them, yeah!
Accuracy International, the company that designed this rifle,
Mm.
was effectively 3 guys in a shed.
I know he's not going to cover this. It was 3 guys in a shed who were making rifles for Olympic shooters. So that's the start that he doesn't mention, is that there were 3 guys making rifles for Olympic shooters, and the idea that is going to come up came from an Olympic shooter who said, "Hey, why don't you try this?" I just wanted to add that in there because I think it's really cool that these guys, were dealing with the best target shooters on the planet. And when you realize where they're working out of, and that's their standard clients.
And they were like, why don't we submit this rifle that we built to the British military rifle trials for a new sniper rifle? So they did it. They didn't expect to win.
The official advice was, submit this to the trials, let the military complain about it, and then you'll know how to improve it. That was the suggestion. As you can see, they didn't expect to win.
And it won handily. And they were like, oh crap, now we gotta build a bunch of these things. So when the British military sent some requisitions lieutenants out to their shop,
To his garage.
they rented a large
Literally
shop
garage.
and then took their entire
It was actually a
inventory of
shed.
rifles they had produced up until that point. And there's only 3 people that worked for this company at the time. So when the requisitions officers showed up, they were like, well, where is everybody? Oh, they're out to lunch. It'll be fine.
Why are we in a 2-stall garage? The rest of the house is out for lunch too. It'll be back in a moment.
Well, no, they had rented out for a day an actual workshop. Had all these workbenches in it, put all the rifles on it in different states. So they showed up and the requisitions officers were happy. They're like, hey, this looks like a really good operation you guys got going here. Let's go out to lunch. So they went out and got lunch. And then while they were out at lunch, the requisitions officers were like, yeah, this was really more of a formality. We just wanted to make sure you weren't 3 guys in a shed. And they're just like, oh my God, we're in so much trouble. Anyway, it ended up getting adopted. And it's a really, really good rifle.
Have you
It gets better. It gets worse / better. So the requisitions officers really did say that, and eventually it did come out hey, this is the reality of the situation. So military said, you know what though? This rifle is so good, we're going to use it anyways. And we will arrange for a subcontractor to manufacture them on license from you. Because we really want this rifle. So they did. The subcontractor cut corners. and the rifles that were produced didn't actually work. But the military still said, no, we want these rifles. So these two guys had to go in, tell the subcontractor what they were doing wrong, fix the rifles that had been produced. The British military wanted these rifles that badly that they bent over backwards and dealt with all this crap and paid to have it fixed. Which normally most militaries would look at this chain of events and go, nope, we're picking something else that's cheaper. But nope, they wanted those rifles so badly that they arranged for subcontractors and repairs and fixes and actually telling these big manufacturing companies, no, you're gonna listen to the three guys from a shed because they know what they're talking about, and we want exactly what they designed and nothing else. And it is still considered one of the best bolt action rifles on the planet for accuracy.
Fired one of these guns.
I have fired one of these guns.
Come on! Really?
If it's any World War II gun, they were probably all over the place in Iraq. So it's the PPSH-41. It's a Russian submachine gun.
These guns we've been picking up that you've been spouting about, they were all used by the Allies in World War II?
Yes. So far, we have not found any German World War II submachine guns, which would be the MP-38. I think it's going to be the only one.
Wait, is that the only weapon the Nazis had?
No, they had tons of other ones. Just the MP-38 is like the only submachine gun they technically had.
Okay.
This one does eject all the shell casings out of the top of it.
Shoots them up?
Yeah, shell casings just pop straight out the top of it.
Into your line of sight?
You don't really notice them when you're shooting it. You do notice them when they come raining back down from the sky and go down the shirt collar.
Yeah, seems like a terrible design. You say people like these guns.
Oh yeah,
One of the
Germans had a lot.
downsides of it is that happens.
People would take these guns, fire them sideways gangsta style, and then shoot their comrades with the shrapnel.
You're actually not wrong, because one of the standard practices for these things was to hold it at 25 or 45 degree angle.
Well, yeah,
in your shoulder, so it goes and spits the shell casings
if you
away.
designed the shell casings to eject straight up, then it just makes sense.
Well, the reason they have it eject the shell casings straight up is because it's an ease of manufacturing.
Hey, should we manufacture a gun that doesn't shoot hot shell casings down the soldiers' backs? We could, but this is so much cheaper!
There was a Sten.
Oh, it is even cheaper than that. A lot of the old PPSHs were actually built out of cut up Mosin Nagants. They're actually built out of cut up Mosin Nagants. They would cut the barrels, because they're both in 7.62. It's just a matter of the powder that's behind them. They cut the barrel off, so now you have a 7.62 barrel. And then they cut up the stock in order to get because the shoulder part's already there. You just need a change in how everything fits together. And then you only need to manufacture the firing mechanism and the receiver and the barrel shroud for the heat guard. So now you've taken your old Mosin Nagants and turned them into submachine guns, basically.
Gun, which was like the British one, and then there was an Australian one, which was the Owen submachine gun, I believe.
The Emu Slayer.
The Owen gun is
They lost that war.
real weird.
How so?
So you know how you thought it was weird the magazine sticks out of this one?
Does the magazine stick straight out the top of it?
You got it!
Come on, I was joking! You're serious!
Yes, the Owen gun has the magazine sticking straight out of the top.
You're sure you're not
An
making an
offset
Australian
sight so you
joke
can
about how the
actually
magazine
see.
is upside down?
Yes, the magazine sticks straight out of the top. And no, it is not an Australian joke. There's actually a good reason for doing that. A lot of
Because the gravity flows up?
the reason for doing that is because you don't have to have a super strong magazine spring. Because gravity actually aids in feeding the rounds.
Then why don't they all do that?
Because it means you have to have your sights offset to the side of it.
Oh,
which
yes.
is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it does sound stupid that way.
Mechanically, the Owen was great.
You're stupid. Shut up. You don't know.
Ergonomically, the
How about
Owen
putting
was
a
iffy.
magazine in my line of sight so I can't see? What if you put crosshairs in the bottom of the magazine so you could just use it? You'd have to recite it every time you had to reload.
You joke about that, but there's actually a couple pistols that literally just have crosshairs painted on the back of the gun, and you're just supposed to put the back of the pistol on top of the center of the target and hope that you're gonna hit it. What is this bullshit?
For the pistol, look up the Taurus Curve, which is a hilariously bad self-defense pistol. Yep, Up To has it, Taurus Curve. That is a hilariously bad pistol. And it really does just have a white cross painted on the back with the idea of, put this over what you want to shoot. There. Yeah, Australia didn't have a great manufacturing base, so exceptions were made. But like I said, mechanically, the Owen's great. It's ergonomically terrible.
The fuck is this thing?
You're not familiar with it?
No!
It's a zip
Probably
gun.
because they made it at home. It's some bathtub moonshine kind of gun.
God, yeah, it looks like it was
It-
made at
honestly,
home.
it could-
Except the
looks
front
like it
sight
could
and the rear
be
sight
a,
actually look usable. And there's actually some really nice knurling on the back of that end cap.
Oh, what's it called?
Knurling?
Knurling. Knurling's fun and expensive. So this is a very expensive homemade submachine gun.
Ludi. It looks like
So
it could
instead
be
of
someone
writing
competing with the Ludi.
overpressure ammunition on the back of every single bullet, they just do a little plus and the P. Because then, at a glance, you can tell what kind of ammunition you have.
What if it's under pressure? Is it negative P then?
No, then it's just ammunition.
Yeah, then it's just poorly made.
Excuse me! Is it G36 time? I believe it's G36 time. It's G36 time, Mike. Made by Heckler and Koch, or Heckler and Koch, however the hell you want to pronounce it.
I say
H
Koch.
and K.
Everyone says Koch.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, pronounce it however the hell you want. You're an American. It's a 5.56 select fire weapon system, made primarily of polymer, which is interesting and futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
Stock folds off to the side. It's one of the first really modular weapons that was adopted by a military. So on the magazine, you see those two little circles that are right there?
Yes.
Those are actually locking lugs, so you can just lock a bunch of magazines together.
Just stack them like Jenga pieces, one after
Yep.
the other.
Yeah, pretty much. They work pretty well. H&K did kind of get in trouble recently. Some of the trunnions on the guns weren't exactly put together properly.
I
so
don't know what a trunnion is.
the piece of metal that the barrel locks into on the inside of the gun. Turned out some of them were kind of crappy, so they had a tendency to start having wandering zeros, which means that every time you would zero it, the zero would completely change and it would start shooting all over the place.
Have you fired one of these?
I have never fired a full auto version, no.
Mike
but
is
I have
a
fired
Marine.
a
Mike has
civilian
lots of firearms
version.
training.
You can't get an actual G36 in the U.S. because apparently H&K doesn't think that we're German enough to be allowed
They
to
do
own
that
them.
with so many
they
of their guns,
Imported this bastardized version of it that's called the HK SL8.
which is absolutely atrocious. Oh,
atrocious.
yeah, you said
Even
it.
more so than this gun, huh?
These guns are great.
You just finished telling me how they were not that great because of the
That
parts.
was kind of
No,
a
that's a-
problem for the military one, and they were
That
old
was
at
that was a
time.
manufacturing
Ignoring
problem, not
all
the
of the
design
defects,
problem.
these guns
The
are
civilian
like-
version is a design
This
problem.
gun worked amazingly well. For some reason, they made it so that the SL8 takes magazines that look like G36 magazines, but a G36 magazine will not go into it because they converted it to a single stack magazine.
Okay.
So the magazines are not interchangeable. Most of the parts aren't interchangeable.
They
It's
don't
got a
even
weird,
really
stupid
look all
thumb
that
hole
similar.
stock that makes it look absolutely asinine. The barrel is super long, doesn't have a flash hider on it,
If this gun is so great, how come I've never heard of it before?
because you're not interested in guns in any way, shape, or form. I'm gonna use this one.
Okay, I'm gonna put on the Star Citizen music real quick. I need to run real quick. I will be right back. Sorry. I return. Sorry for the delay. Oh, thank you for the bell. Much appreciated. All right. So, let's get us started again, shall we? And I just went to double check to make sure I wasn't imagining things. The SL8 is as bad as I thought it was. And, get this, has double stack versions that still don't take the regular, magazines. When you look at it, it looks like a Chinese attempted clone, a bad knockoff of the G36. And I have seen in the local gun store G36 clones that look like the G36. You know, they're double stack single feed, yeah, something like that. Hello, James. They are actually let me do the retweets real quick since I'm back from a break. They are, you know, like not official. They're knockoff G36s that look like G36s and use standard AR-15 magazines. So, you know, the people basically pirating the design make a better civilian version than the official civilian version. All right, that should be all posts done. Just quickly making sure things are going. I am Zyfax. I am just be a touch hard to make a worse one that's still fine. Yeah, the H&K civilian version is absolutely terrible. All right, looks like everything's in order. I just want to make sure. Let us... I thought I got rid of Nightbot. Give me a sec. I will get rid of that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, James. I thought I got rid of Nightbot. Give me a sec. Nightbot, stop. Nightbot's supposed to be turned off. Why? What? Spam protection. Disabled! Nightbot's disabled! What's going on? Am I going to have to actually block it? Nightbot's actually disabled. Yeah, I used Nightbot ages ago, but it says it's disabled. Give me a sec. We are just going to kick Nightbot. We're just going to kick Nightbot out of the chat, I guess. Because it shouldn't be doing that. All right. Just waiting for it to load. No, we don't want RestreamBot. We want Nightbot. Where is Nightbot? There's Why won't you let me kick Nightbot? What's going on? Yeah, I'm from the States. Nightbot, go away. I don't. All right, I guess we're gonna check YouTube mods. Nightbot shouldn't be a mod, so I don't know what's going on. It won't let me boot them. It's just the hide option. Settings. Permissions. Okay, Nightbot isn't a moderator, so it shouldn't be able to kick you. But I have no idea how to just get it to stop. Have you ever played nope, I have not played Roblox. Anyways, back to this. What is it, the FNFNC?
It looks kind of like the M16.
No, this is the Fabrique Nationale FNC, which stands for Fabrique Nationale Carbine. So yeah, it's kind of redundant in that it's called the Fabrique Nationale Carbine. The FNC is based on the AR-18, which is a piston-driven version of an AR-15. A lot of the stuff on the inside of it is a little bit different. They were very well received. They worked well. The intended purpose of this was actually to replace the FAL. Didn't really work for that. Initial ones had problems with the stock falling off.
That is an issue.
Also a handguard falling off.
That is also an
it was
issue.
made out of paper and salt and disintegrated if it touched water.
Once they got those problems worked out, this was an amazing gun. I want an FNC, but I want the AK-5C handguard on it. You know what I'm talking about?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I don't know what
Drum
he's talking
mag
about
and the
either.
Tommy gun. Actually,
Oh yes, the swarm of angry
No, we've
bees.
discussed this, and it is technically a drum mag, but whip, wiggle, wiggle. We've discussed this. It's an AM 180. Wiggle, wiggle.
Is that how you clear a jam on a
Yeah.
Tommy gun? Really? You just wiggle it?
No. Let's go turn this evidence in.
Ah, Alexander Davies, thank you for the
Wiggle,
follow.
And this one.
Come on, come back.
And James,
come back.
thank you for the follow.
Was it a Makarov?
All right, he didn't stick with it very long. The AM. There you go, Jerome Swenson. Thank you for the follow. Lots of people tonight. Oh. The AM 180, the American 180, is also known as the Swarm of Angry Bees. It is a 22 caliber riot gun. I'm not a bot, I swear. Thank you for the follow. Holy crap, where are you all coming from? What happened? I don't know what's going on, but thank you all for the follows. Hi. Ha! Epic Bear! What? Oh my gosh, the night that I'm sick and just doing reacts, everyone shows up. Hi, welcome. Yeah, the AM180 is a 22... Zero Fallen, thank you for the follow. I'm going to be doing this for a while, aren't I? Okay, Nightbot is not a mod. You should just be able to ignore it, James. I'm sorry that it's picking on you. I don't know how to get rid of it. I have it turned off and everything. Anyways, it's a 22 caliber riot gun. Damn, bro. Hi. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. What is happening? It's 22 caliber riot gun, with the idea being that at the time they didn't have pepper spray or anything, or any kind of traditional less lethal weapon. So less lethal just meant we're going to use a tiny weak bullet and hope that it doesn't kill everyone. I just timed it out for 24 hours. Hopefully I should do it for... Oh, thank you, Rippy. I don't know why it wasn't giving me that option.
Were you shooting me with a Makarov? I don't know how I guessed it that
Was
quickly.
it iRock Game? Hi, yes.
Tell me about the
I'm
Makarov. It's a Russian.
I am reacting to Zach's gun rants, the first one from Mike Burnfire, and this is Zach and Mike. Zach is the one who knows about guns. Mike is the Marine who never learned anything.
Gun, isn't it?
I can't tell you right now. I'm busy killing.
Come on, that's never stopped you before.
The Makarov is a 9mm Russian pistol, but it's in a different 9mm caliber.
Wait, there's different 9mm?
Yes. The Makarov
See you, James.
is a 9
Thanks for
by
hanging out.
18
Thanks for following.
Makarov, not 9x19 Parabellum, which
Oh.
is the normal 9mm round.
Come on, really?
Yes, there's also 9x21.
9x25.
9mm Largo.
There are so many different kinds of ammo. Can you standardize slightly,
9 by
please?
39.
While it's shorter by 1mm.
Hello.
Excuse me.
Hi,
Wow,
thank you.
that dropped him fast. It's kind of based on the Walther PPK pistol.
Most
It
Russian
looks
guns are
similar,
cloned
and
off
it's
of
the same
something else.
operating principle. It's just a straight blowback pistol. It's nothing fancy. The barrel's pinned in place,
I say that,
which
and
means
then I
that
have
this
a little
pistol has
bee.
a lot more recoil than you think it's going to. It lets you know you're shooting it. I did find another gun. It's the Colt 1911.
Also, the Makarov, the 9x18, Russia specifically went for an underpowered round, quote unquote, because they were worried that conscripts couldn't handle the recoil of the regular 9x19.
Ah, the most reliable firearm on the market.
I've gone over the 1911 before.
You've called it the most unreliable gun you've ever used.
I like joking about that.
It's not really that unreliable.
No, they work just fine. I just like giving 1911 owners a bunch of shit because my 2 world wars and 45 ACP because they don't make a 46.
Except they do, technically.
Hello.
Always true to Kaiser.
True to different gun.
Give us that gun.
Oh, it's a Taurus.
Tauruses are trash.
I take it you don't like guns that are named after constellations?
Oh, it's a Taurus Raging Bull. Oh, it's a garbage gun.
Is it though?
Oh,
Taurus has figured
guns
out
are,
how
like,
to make
really bad
unreliable
quality.
revolvers.
Really?
Think
Yeah,
about
they're
that.
not great.
Well, look, I'm sure you could put the
What
barrel.
the? Okay, I'm more interested in what you have. I'm gonna kill you with this Taurus Raging Bull real quick. Yeah, Taurus basically makes all of their money copying other ones. Like, this is pretty much a Smith & Wesson revolver, only they don't do a very good job of putting them together. They pretty much exclusively copy Smith & Wesson or Beretta, and that's it.
They still get the job.
They went through World War II, and the lesson they learned was no one is going to use the service pistol. They have any other gun available. That is fair. That is a fair and reasonable thing to come up with. But even then, looking at 9x19 and saying it's too powerful, really? This easy thing is small for officers to carry. You can make tiny 9x19s.
Done though, don't they?
I mean, yeah, it'll still work. It's just not.
Doris
good.
has figured
Usually
out several
triggers are
dozen
kinda
ways to
crap,
make a
the
busted
finish is
revolver.
really
Yeah.
awful. They break a lot. So we'll just put this into.
It's kind of
That
impressive
garbage
how
there?
bad Tauruses
And
are.
what the fuck is this thing?
It's called a
Why to not
duplet.
work in
I don't know
anything
what
that
the hell
NATO
a
used. Okay, that's
duplet
fair.
is. What is a duplet?
You tell me. You're the gun expert.
Gah! AK-47, my friend.
Everybody knows about that gun.
Everybody knows what an AK-47
number
is.
47.
Everybody on the eastern side of the world uses that gun.
Pretty much, or an AK-74, or some variant of it. I know what an AK is. You know what an AK is. We all know what an AK is. It shoots a big bullet. It works pretty well.
It doesn't shoot a huge bullet.
It's a decent sized round.
The thing I know about the AK
7.62 by 39.
is that you could roll around in the mud and it'd keep on firing.
That's actually not true. The AK is an amazing gun to give to people who have no idea how to maintain weapons.
It is.
It doesn't matter if it's got oil in it. It doesn't matter if it's clean. It will just work.
Had enough?
The problem is,
It's not very precise.
no, it's decently accurate for a rifle. It's designed. The AK was designed to work from 0 to 300 meters. And that's pretty much it. The problem is, when you turn the safety off, there is that massive hole in the side of it. The dirt and debris and everything can just get jammed right in the side of there.
So you want to keep the safety
Also,
on
conscripts had
as
a
much as
tendency to
possible.
Even
lose the
then,
dust
the
cover.
problem is on
so there's an even
AK-47s,
bigger hole in
and
the
this
back.
is the thing everybody goes on and on and on about is, but it's got loose tolerances so dirt can just go into it. It's got loose tolerances, which means dirt gets into it, and then the dirt makes it not work. If you fill the inside of an AK-47 up with dirt, it doesn't work anymore. It was designed to be a mass-produced rifle, to be made very cheap, and do its job.
Does it do its job,
It
sir?
does its job very well. If you have a Pancore jackhammer, I'm not even going to pick that up.
Are you not going to pick it up because you hate that gun?
I'm not going to pick it up because it's not a real gun and it doesn't actually exist. And everybody insists on putting it in video games like it's some kind of mythical god shotgun. It's an MP412 Rex.
I've never heard of it.
It's a Russian revolver. It's a Russian top-break revolver. I know nothing about it because you can't get them in the US. I've never handled one. I know nothing about them. I don't know if they're good or bad or what. I don't know why this specific one looks like the entire thing was dipped in chrome, because the grip is shiny.
It looks like it was dipped in chrome because it was probably dipped in chrome. Also, yes, I will try to remember to pause. I'm sorry.
And it shouldn't be.
Well, maybe this Emmett Curry guy just likes his fancy revolvers.
Maybe he does. What was that other thing?
I don't know what you mean. It certainly wasn't a gun called an AS Val.
You give it to me right now!
I don't even know what this thing is.
Give it! Give it!
All right, fine. I don't even know what an AS Val is.
How long have you had this?
When did we kill Sergio?
Oh my god, man! And you didn't think to tell me.
Why? It's not like it's a good weapon or anything.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorite guns of all time.
You've never mentioned this to me before.
The AS Val is, oh my god, I can't even deal with you right now.
You've never mentioned it before, ever.
The AS Val is amazing. It's in 9x39.
Oh, so they made a new kind of ammo for it. That's great. Because, you know, I love having 10,000 kinds of ammo that's completely incompatible.
The whole point of 9x39 is that it's a subsonic armor-piercing bullet. You slap a big-ass suppressor on the front of this thing, and now you have a subsonic, suppressed, fully automatic gun.
I didn't know it was suppressed.
Yes, it makes no noise.
Oh.
It just ticks at you.
Oh, if we ever have a stealth mission, this will be useful.
I can't believe you didn't tell me you had this thing.
Again, I didn't know you'd care.
From now on, can you just assume that if you find a gun, I'll probably care, and then I'll tell you afterwards?
I thought we already found all of the guns you liked.
I will not interrupt you for telling me that you found a new gun. So there's a couple different versions of this gun. There is the initial version, which was the VSS Ventores. Then the next one that came out was, why is there a landmine? Ow!
Let's take it like a champ.
VSS Ventores was first. AS Val, which is this one, was the second version. Technically, there's a third version, which is called the SR3M. Doesn't have an integral suppressor, it just has a screw-on suppressor. This one, the suppressor is part of the gun. You actually are not supposed to shoot it without a suppressor on it.
But what does this mean for me? Somebody who knows nothing about guns. Ah, God!
Nice work, Mike. So let's see. We found the Colt Pocket 1849, which is...
Going over what he said, I thought I had... I don't really think I have a lot to add. And I don't think I have a lot to add myself, except Brandon Herrera built one, and I would highly recommend you check out his video.
This thing. It's a percussion cap revolver.
All right. Sounds a little weak, and it looks kind of silly.
Yes, it's a black powder revolver.
You cannot do that.
Remove that? Why wouldn't you just load the 6 things in there with the spit? Why do you remove that?
Well, you can technically do that,
so
but it is not
fast. This is a black
fast.
powder revolver.
Not that
means,
fast.
When you want to reload it, you either have to remove the entire cylinder or hold the gun at a weird angle and pour the powder into each one of the cylinders.
Oh my lord.
And then put a ball into it and then jam the ball down in there.
It's a 6-shooter blunderbuss.
Yeah, it's a black powder muzzle loader.
It's a musket with 6 shots.
Yes. If you're shooting revolvers that are black powder like this one, just smear a little bit of Crisco across the top of it. I'm not even joking.
To prevent the sun from blinding you?
No, I meant the face of the cylinder where the bullets come out of.
Mm-hmm.
When you fire this, they don't accidentally chain fire and all go off at the same time. Because that is something that could potentially happen.
And because the barrel isn't in front of the bullet, it would just explode in your hand.
Yes.
That's a bad thing.
AK-97.
Thank you for the sub, and he is 100% correct. I actually have a replica firing Colt Navy. And first of all, in order to remove the cylinder, you have to take a pin out the side, which holds it all together. Pull off the front barrel assembly, and then, oh, there's the follower thing. Thank you. And then you can take the cylinder in and out. Assuming it's not a super tight pin, it can still actually be faster to swap out the cylinders, because they are really slow to reload manually. He is also 100% correct. They used to put like lard down each of the cylinders before you'd fire them. There is a modern thing called bore butter, which also helps clean and eat away at the black powder after you fire it, so your barrel doesn't get all fouled as easily. That you can now put on. It gives me, because of the chain, bacon grease is another one. The chain fire threat, because of that, I get anxiety whenever I see a lot of people that don't put anything, they just load the rounds in directly. It gives me anxiety because it's like, oh my gosh, please, I'm begging you. You can borrow my bore butter to put on it. I don't want your hand to be blown off. Now, there is a Remington. Is it the Remington? I think it's the Remington that does actually make it much easier to swap the cylinders out. Bacon, one of the 4 basic food groups. Yeah, I think it's the Remington that makes it easier to... yeah, the Remington Army that makes it easier. It's just like a single little lever instead of having to disassemble the gun that you pull and then swap out the cylinders. They're very neat. And interestingly, those cap and ball revolvers don't actually count as firearms. So you can just mail order them to your front door, which is interesting.
One is a very interesting gun. Ooh, fast firing rate. Me so horny.
I know nothing about this.
Boy, you immediately forgot about that Val gun, huh?
Makes me feel so dirty just holding this thing. So the AK-971 is an experimental weapon that the Russian military tested out that uses a weird counterweight mechanism inside it. The counterweight moves in the opposite direction the bolt is moving. So it has a really high firing rate, but it just kind of pushes into your shoulder instead of trying to climb on you.
So it absorbs recoil and throws it into your shoulder?
Any gun is going to recoil. This one doesn't have a whole lot. It just doesn't want to climb. It just basically wants to push straight backwards. It shoots a lot of bullets real fast.
What do you say? Accuracy by volume of fire?
That's pretty much what the AK-971 does.
All right. Was that also given to soldiers who were incompetent?
That was the plan, I think.
No, it was an experimental weapon. The Russian military
Yeah, but most of
not
those experimental
really.
weapons
So they
were
didn't make a whole
the
lot of
plan
them?
was to give
No,
to
not
soldiers who
really.
couldn't
So
get.
it's kind of a mythical gun like the Pancor jackhammer, is what you're saying?
No, because the Pancor jackhammer, there is only one of.
You don't know that. They could have some hiding. They could have
I believe there's 2 of it, and it is actually terrible. It is a clockwork shotgun.
some that you don't know about. That they didn't make public. What? You don't know for certain.
I do know for certain there is one.
If there is one that exists, people can look at the schematics and make a duplicate of it, so there could be 2.
Because you can't just make a fully automatic gun. You have to have the right licensing to do it.
You're saying I can't legally make it. I'm saying I could disregard the legality and make a clone of it.
It also would be complete shit, and it wouldn't actually be a Pancor jackhammer. It would be a gun made in a garage by some moron that doesn't know how to put a gun together.
They'll call it the Pancor Jack Glamour.
We'll call it a Pancor piece of shit.
Including the Pancor jackhammer.
Yeah, oh boy. God, what a fucking piece of junk this gun is.
It looks kind of futuristic.
No, it doesn't. It looks like garbage.
It's kind of cool, and it's got so many holes in it!
You know, why don't you use this gun since you love it so much? Then it can jam on you every 2 seconds because they built one of it, and it's a prototype, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got this stupid clockwork drum mechanism that you have to pull out in order to replace the ammo compartment. Oh, God.
You don't have to pull it out. You have to disassemble the gun.
You really
You
don't
actually
like
have to
that.
disassemble it to reload in real
It's an
life.
experimental weapon that they designed one firing version of. And it didn't work. It looks like something somebody drew in 3rd grade math class when they were supposed to be paying attention. Look at this piece of crap. The AKS-74U,
Which was designed in 1974 in the month of October.
October. Oh, God, now I get it. Okay. This goofy little thing right there on the end of it,
You're talking about the barrel.
the cone on the end of it,
The
is
flash hider.
actually... Yeah, it's a flash hider, and it also increases back pressure so the rifle will cycle properly. Also, the top cover is hinged, so you can't lose it anymore. And it has this side-folding wire stock.
It's got a hole in it, which means it's light and useful.
No, that hole is part of the side-folding mechanism.
I'm talking about the hole in the stock. This is a giant hole in the stock. There's not a lot of metal
What
there.
is with you in wanting to put holes in things?
Holes make things cool.
No, they don't. Whoa, that's a tiny shotgun. Give me your tiny shotgun, please. Oh, that's a Remington 870. That's way better than this shitty Mossberg 500 I have.
Really?
I don't care
Oh, we
until I
killed him.
find one.
He got caught mid-reload. That's why you don't bring a revolver to an autoloader fight. See, look. It's empty. Oh no, what do I do? And then I came up and was like... pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. Yeah, Remington 870.
I can't believe you would give up your Mossberg in any capacity.
I like the Remington 870 better than the Mossberg. I like the Remington 870 better because the older ones are better put together. They're more well made.
Built to last, you say?
Older ones are really well put together. They run smooth. They're very nice pump action shotguns. By the looks of it, this one is an older one because it's a blued finish and not Parkerized. There is a lot of hate between people who use the Remington 870 and people who use the Mossberg 500.
I didn't realize there was a rivalry, like the Montagues and the Capulets.
No, more like Ford and Chevy owners.
I see.
They have absolutely no proof that either one of the guns is better, and yet they will yell at each other about how, well, my Ford's better than your Chevy. Oh, yeah, Ford. More like, fix it again, Tony. That says Fiat, you dumbass.
So are you going to put a decal on your Remington there of Calvin pissing out a Mossberg?
Sure, why not? I would be lying if I said I had never seen a decal of Calvin peeing on a gun logo.
Yep, I've sadly seen that before, which is a real shame. Bill Watterson didn't want his characters to be used like that.
There really isn't much difference between the Mossberg 500 and the Remington 870. They're both...
Is that a
relatively
Romeo and
inexpensive
Juliet
pump
reference
action
might be
shotguns.
made?
They're both
Oh, it was. I didn't even notice. Huh. I didn't even notice that.
work fine.
They're both inferior to the Pancore Jackhammer in theory. But I have to say in theory because everyone knows the Pancore Jackhammer is not a real weapon yet. But maybe one day, if we all dream hard enough, it could be. So there's a second Remington 870 in this game?
Yeah, the hunting shotgun is just a Remington 870.
So-
Or
Why is Mike so smart and dumb at the same
maybe
time?
it's based
Who
on the
knows?
Winchester Model 12. I can't prove that because the Model 12 does look similar to the Remington 870.
I think it is based on the Winchester, yes. Now that you mention it, with my vast knowledge of guns,
Oh my god, Mike. Oh god, a Pancore jackhammer.
he was... yeah.
That's what you get for using a gun that doesn't exist.
You said it didn't exist, but there's already two of them. We just found them all.
Oh my god, it's because somebody...
Somebody made copies. I told you they did. You didn't believe me.
But it's not a Pancore jackhammer. It's a shotgun made by Raider.
With the exact same specifications as a Pancore Jackhammer. Ah yes, the Pancore Jackhammer has a firing rate of a fucking lot and kills enemy with gusto.
I hate you.
It was invented by the cyborg Russians back in 2027.
I hate you.
And everybody knows that it's got a flash-powered muzzle hider. Yes, very effective at
You're
killing.
just saying words. You're just saying words. You're pissing me off.
Okay. I am now sending out for everyone the link to the video. Must give proper credits. So what do you think? We're just gonna move to doing the second one, get the second part out of the way? That seems like a good plan to me. Probably, actually at the rate we're going, we may actually fill out the full regular stream time just off of these because of my ability to rant alongside his ability to rant. Ooh, that looks like it could be the Owen right there in part 6. Yeah, let's continue on to part 2 since we're here. And hopefully on Sunday we'll do actual game things.
Sorry, I just threw up a little bit looking at that thing you're holding.
Yeah.
We need 2 people with ranged guns.
No, we need 4 people with the same firearm. That way, instead of covering our weaknesses, we'll just have a big old strength.
It's logic like that that led to the Bradley. God, what a nightmare of a vehicle that thing is. At least the modern ones kind of work.
Have you ridden in one?
Yeah. I had to know how to fix the main gun on one.
I didn't.
Because tell me how that qualifies as small arms.
There's a whole story
That's what I
behind
tell
that.
people. My job while I was in the military was to fix everything from 9mm pistols to 155mm howitzers. And that included the M242 chain gun on a Bradley.
That's a lot of millimeters to fix.
Muchos milimetros. We just gotta...
Check out my panko.
Before anyone starts, I am aware that Pentagon Wars, that Colonel Burton is not the hero he likes to paint himself as. This does not change the fact that the original production of the Bradley actually was a disaster. It was fixed, not thanks to Colonel Burton. Colonel Burton had nothing to do with it. But if you actually look at the chain of designs that led up to the Bradley's production, that part is correct, and there's a lot of disasters, and there's a lot of actual, let's make the thing amphibious. Let's make this armored vehicle amphibious. And like it did actually have a problem with its aluminum armor. Again, Colonel Burton had nothing to do with fixing it, but it did actually have a problem of aluminum armor that burned. It was like titanium aluminum, so it burned and produced toxic gas. But the actual production of the Bradley is hilarious when viewed from the outside. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. The Bradley is a nonsense vehicle that has finally been fixed. The current version is actually a pretty cool vehicle. But if you look into the history, the production stage part of the Bradley is pretty accurate. When you look at Pentagon Wars, just ignore the rest of the movie. Because Colonel Burton is not a good person. So most of that movie bad. But the actual production phase, when you look at it, is a simplified version of what the Bradley actually went through. Some of the vehicles that were stages of the Bradley production are just 100% what on earth were they thinking? The portholes are real. The portholes were real, by the way. So the men can shoot at whatever they can't hit with the cannon. And as someone who actually has worked in military contracting, that like 12-minute sequence on the production of the Bradley from the movie was shown on day 1. And we actually had to take a class on, see this here? Never let it happen again. So I actually got the inside scoop on the production of the Bradley as part of it, because my company was part of it. And so we actually got all the details, and we're basically told it was a masterclass on things not to let the government. government people do. It was basically all the ways to tell the government no without saying the word no. So I'm very careful. Yeah, it's not that I don't swear, it's just that I'm usually much, much more angry when I'm swearing. But yeah, we actually had to take a like 2-hour class as part of our day 1 training on the Bradley and what not to do. I just had to say that. Colonel Burton had nothing to do with fixing it, though. I need to stress that. If you watch Pentagon Wars, understand that it's propaganda that Colonel Burton himself paid for.
Oh, jackhammer! Yeah, I'm gonna drill you. I want to press forward, but we got some narrow chokes here. Cover me, I'm reloading! And my weapon's jammed! And also parts of it are broken, and I can't find replacements!
Yeah, and you have to disassemble 90% of your gun to reload it. I don't know about that. I've got my trusty gyrojet pistol.
I want one so
It's
bad.
a rocket gun.
A rocket gun.
It's a rocket gun.
Uh-huh.
It fires little tiny rockets.
Does it fire high ordnance little tiny rockets?
No, it's just a little tiny solid rocket.
Tiny little BBs coming out of that thing?
It's a 50 cal. So no, it's not tiny.
Okay. That cannot fire a 50 cal. Look
To
at
be
that
fair,
thing.
50 caliber
How
for
many
a
of these
rocket
have you
is very
fired in your
small.
life?
I've not fired a single one ever.
Are they real guns?
Yeah, they're real. They were sold commercially on the market. They just failed to take off, so to speak.
Are they banned under U.S. regulations? Seeing
Nope.
as how it's a frickin' rocket?
Nope, you can totally own one.
Oh, probably because it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, not really. They weren't that great. I mean, you basically, if I were to shoot this gyrojet at you from this distance, it probably would do nothing to you. It would.
Yeah, for something like the first 20 feet out of the barrel, the gyrojet bullet would bounce off of a person.
Feel like getting shot with a paintball.
You said 50 cal, and that raised my expectations.
Yeah, see, look, check this out.
Did you fire that thing?
Yeah, I did. I just shot it at you.
I thought a mosquito bit me.
I know, right?
Huh.
But if you're like 20 meters away and I shoot this at you, then it's really gonna hurt. Because then the rocket will have reached its terminal speed, which is
Oh.
enough to kill you.
How much explosive is packed in there?
None. It's just a little tiny solid
These are
rocket.
These are also the prototypes for what is essentially bolter technology. So if you like any kind of weapon that's the bolter style with a bullet that is fired and rocket traditionally and has a rocket motor for extended range, these are essentially the prototype for that.
Doubts as to the efficacy of this weapon.
I mean, it was intended as a commercial thing. It was never really intended to be used as like a military weapon. But because there were so few of them made, and
It was actually, among other things, it works underwater. So there was actually a military intent behind the gyrojet. But the fact that you can't use it at short range is what killed its military application, because, you know, if it's your weapon and you run into someone at point blank range, you need a weapon that isn't going to bounce off the guy 4 feet in front of you, which is exactly what they did, and why the military. Well, okay, that was part of the reason why the military canceled it. The other part was because they kept playing with the ammunition, because unlike bullets, you could actually play more with the rockets in terms of how it worked. And the production version of the rockets were much weaker than the original prototype rockets, and the hammer for the gun is actually on the front. How it works is the hammer hits the front of the rocket, which pushes it back into the firing pin, which ignites it. And then the rocket flies forward and has to push the hammer back down, cocking it and out of the way, on its way out to... How does this keep getting screwed up? How does my... What is going on? How does this thing's calibration keep getting screwed up? Anyways, it has to push back past the hammer, which cocks it, in order to then get the rest of the way out of the barrel. The production model rockets struggled to push the hammer out of the way. One moment, I'm going to see if I can quickly fix this. It's on the settings that it was. What is its problem? I have no idea what is with this thing's calibration. That should be fixed. But yeah, they had problems.
They're highly valued as collector items. People seem to think it has this mythical status that it's
The problem is,
god-killing gun.
for those who couldn't see, the problem was the fact that when I was putting my hands out, I was like going that thing where they go all the way out. I probably should make myself slightly smaller. There we go.
But it really isn't.
So it's just like the Pancord Jackhammer, only you like this for some reason.
I think it's kind of neat.
Also, it's not like the
I've
Panko
never heard of this
Jackhammer. They
gun
did make a
before.
lot of
I
them.
seriously doubt it.
They just didn't
exists.
last
But here we
long.
are, the Star Vegas warehouse.
Oh, it exists. Ow, ow, ow!
Look at me using an actual caliber of weapon. It's actually doing damage.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
gun
this
is
is
not
way
great.
too
It's
close for
not
the-
great.
for
Turns
the
out it's
gyro
better
jet.
for target shooting.
You're basically firing at 22. That's how effective it is.
Yeah, it's not super great. That is somewhat accurate that the officer is the only one with a submachine gun. Everybody else had like semi-auto rifles,
Oh.
even though technically they should have had bolt actions. But whatever.
Are you saying that's how the original Nazis had the leadership structure?
Every squad had a machine gun, a rifleman, and then usually the squad leader had a submachine gun. And the entire way their squad level tactics worked was to set up the machine gun in a position and then use the squad to funnel enemy soldiers into the machine gun's line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
So usually the squad leader was the only one with a submachine gun.
I'm glad they did the research for this mod. It's impressive.
I find that kind of interesting that they actually did that. Behold, the PB9!
Yes, the Peanut Butter 69.
Why was it so loud? It shouldn't be. It's an integrally suppressed Makarov pistol.
Makarov.
So you remember how I found the Makarov earlier?
Yeah.
This is an integrally suppressed one.
It looks like a flare gun. The barrel is huge.
Well, yeah, it's because it's a suppressor.
Oh, is that what that's supposed to be?
Yeah, that
Bolt
thing on the end
actions
is a giant
existed and are
suppressor.
fairly
And
cheap.
you'll
Yes, they
notice
were.
The sights, if you zoom in on them, you got a dot on the rear sight and a dot on the front one, and you would just put radium paint on them so you could use it at nighttime. It's supposed to be real quiet.
And give yourself
I
radiation
don't know why
poisoning.
this one is so much louder.
The suppressor part ain't working.
Anyway, it's an interesting little gun. It's really cool. I've always wanted one, and I think the reason I want one is because I can't have one.
Not legally sold.
Because they're Russian, and
Oh.
also, by all reports, they're not exactly great.
I wouldn't have assumed as much. I've not really heard of the gun. I don't know why you were so excited to get that in the first place, but
Well, because I've always wanted one. See, look at it.
despite the fact that it's
Oh, you know what? I wonder if maybe it just doesn't have the suppressor on the end yet. I mean, technically, yes, it's integrally suppressed, but not really because there might need to be more suppressor.
maybe we need to find a mod for it.
The PB is an interesting gun because it pretty much was a design principle of, we have a Makarov and we want a Makarov that'll be real quiet. What can we do? So they just hacked
AK,
the
but
whole
quiet.
front of the slide off. I'm not even joking. They literally just, on the original ones, they just took a Makarov slide and then the buzzsaw and just went, meep, and just cut the slide off and then made a new barrel for it.
Okay.
The fuck is that?
It's
A
my new
nightmare.
weapon.
What the actual shit fuck?
It's a grenade launcher. Would you like to try it? Or you would like to see it in action?
That is a cursed gun.
I think it's beautiful.
I think it's an abomination unto God.
It's a beautiful little snowflake.
I think it's an abomination unto John Moses Browning,
Okay.
who, as we all know, is firearms God. Where's my grenade launcher? Where's my grenade launcher?
Oh, sorry. I upgraded it.
Are you that's my grenade launcher?
Yeah, right here. You want it back?
You
Okay.
took my grenade launcher and you ruined it!
You can have
You
it.
turned it into a monster!
No, you haven't given it a chance. It's still
You
fine.
ruined it!
It's good still. You gotta try it out.
The other one got away now because I was so... You ruined My perfect.
Also note that the sights are on the side instead of on the front like they're supposed to be.
My grenade
on
launcher,
top.
Betsy is dead.
Ah, we've just established that her name was Betsy.
The fuck even is this thing? My
Yeah, see those
God,
things winging
it's
out to the
awful.
side? Those aren't supposed to be
Give
there.
it a chance. Well, I can't. It's broken. Fix it, then give it a chance.
Actually, that's when I picked up. Yours is fine.
Where's mine?
It's in storage.
Why didn't you tell me before I started shooting you then?
Because I've developed a fetish for being shot.
You.
Thanks for fulfilling my every need, Zach.
Oh, they came back.
Hooray! Return to the scene of the crime that we committed.
I thought you actually ripped apart my grenade launcher and slapped the barrel onto the back of an M79 receiver.
And you were unhappy with that idea?
Yeah, I was very unhappy with that.
Mike is very much
Oh
worried.
my god, this thing's a massive piece of crap.
Is it? What? It's just a hodgepodge of parts, huh?
Yes, it's just a bunch of parts that were slapped together haphazardly to make a thing that looks kind of like a gun.
That's how the Russians make their weapons, right? They slap parts together and call it good.
No, they actually do a decent job building stuff. I immediately do not want this weapon anymore.
Yes, the masochism is accurate. Oh,
Ford!
no.
I'm golfing!
Looks like someone brought a sword to a sign fight.
I made golf Whoa! Mare's leg! Oh! Yes, Mare's leg!
Is it a shotgun of sorts?
Also one I want.
It's a 44 Magnum, so it's the same thing as like the cowboy gun, except that it's real tiny. It's basically a Winchester 1892 lever action rifle that's been cut way down, so it's just a pistol now.
Wouldn't that give it a huge amount of recoil?
Nah, it's still not bad.
Why not?
Yeah, it's just firing powerful
Have
pistol
you ever
rounds.
fired
it's
like
fine.
a lever action in a pistol caliber?
I think if you cut the barrel, it makes the recoil worse, doesn't it?
Theoretically, but there's still a decent amount of weight to it, so the recoil is actually not bad.
Okay.
Are you foolish enough to believe that he will keep his word after witnessing how he treats those who incur his wrath?
Is
Nice
that lady
voice.
back there holding a P90?
Junkies over at Vault.
Oh, shit,
I say keep
son! Hang on, hold still.
Come on! Oh, no!
No!
That's Starfield level of
I don't
NPC
know why you even want
immunity.
the P90 anyway. Ooh, it's an ambidextrous assault rifle.
It's not an assault rifle, it's a personal defense weapon! Oh, God, I'm not using this.
You said you wanted it.
No.
Yes, those were your words. I hope you die so I can have your gun.
No, I wanted the P90.
You said you also wanted this gun.
I never said that.
Jesus.
I never once said those words. What is this?
It's a revolver.
It's called a BFR.
No, it's in 4570 government.
Okay.
You don't want a revolver in 4570. That's stupid.
What's your preferred revolver caliber?
Anything under 4570. Or 500 Smith & Wesson, because 500 Smith & Wesson is stupid. Never buy a gun in 500 Smith & Wesson.
So 4569, eh? Nice. What don't you like about it? The fact that it's too powerful?
The fact that it weighs 7.5 pounds. Revolvers should not weigh 7.5 pounds. They also shouldn't be in 4570.
You know, people put a lot of effort into some of these weapons, just like they put a lot of effort into the mods.
Oh yeah, they put a whole lot of effort through it. I can see through a hole in the rear sight. That isn't the rear sight. I'm looking through the frame of the gun right now.
Well, Zach, why don't you use the gun that you made? Oh, that's right, you don't make mods. You just complain about...
Hey, this weapon's pretty effective.
See, I told ya.
Well, Mike,
Yeah, if you build a revolver that
Mike's successfully getting shot again. And also, speaking of mods real quick, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. They've kind of been already in the shut up, don't talk about it phase. Bethesda decided to make another dumb decision. After the utter disaster that Starfield has been, as I have talked about at length, they updated Skyrim, because they can't stop, to break all community mods. Because they've decided to bring back the Creation Club. For those of you who don't know, in, I think, 2015, 2014, something like that, Bethesda wanted to take over the mod community and sell mods so they could make money. And they actually stole mods to use community members had made for free to use in their creation club. There was a ton of backlash, and they said, okay, we're going to shut down the creation club and let you go back to modding. They're trying it again. They just updated Skyrim, broke all the mods for it, and have brought the creation club back, saying, if you want mods, buy them through the creation club so we can get a cut. I don't think Bethesda is long for this world. Starfield was a disaster. They've ruined the one game that's made them any meaningful amount of money in decades. Fallout 76 has been a disaster, and no one has any faith in Elder Scrolls 6 anymore, except for the people that are truly deluded and refuse to give up on Bethesda. It's probably over.
It's strong enough to handle 4570. It ends up weighing like 7 pounds, and it's called a Magnum Research BFR, which stands for Big Frame Revolver. If they were gonna call it that, they should have just committed and called it the Big Fucking Revolver.
But it's who's to say it's not a powerful weapon, though?
I'm sure it is a powerful weapon. It's also stupid. 500 Smith & Wesson is a powerful weapon, and guess what? It's stupid.
All right.
Making a Desert Eagle and 50 Action Express is powerful and stupid. It serves no purpose. There's no reason to have a Desert Eagle and 50 AE.
You just
It's mostly that because you can.
it fires really.
Todd is off his meds, I guess. I don't know what happened to Todd. He's just completely lost it.
Fast and is kind of loud and intimidating.
He took an AR-15 lower receiver and I put like the recoil system in the top of it. This is just an AR-15 lower receiver. How does it even shoot bullets?
What?
There are actually AR-15 uppers that remove the buffer tube system in the stock. So that's perfectly fine, technically.
What, you don't think it works?
No!
Try pulling the trigger, see if it works. Hey, it works!
So dumb. I hate it.
Look up bufferless.
This weapon is good.
Look up bufferless AR-15 sometime. There's a bunch of different ways to do it.
I just wish it didn't look so stupid.
You gotta stop hating on things just because they're unique.
I don't like how it looks. It's boring to me.
Oh, you need a paint job for it, huh? We can pimp out your gun. Welcome to Zach's Pimp My Gun show.
Ugh. Yeah, get him, Willow. What the?
Yeah, get ready to die, punks.
Mike, what in the God's name is that thing?
It's my gun.
It is the Joker gun.
That is so stupid.
You know how you always say, the longer the barrel, the more accurate your shots?
Yes, yeah,
So
technically.
I'm never gonna miss now.
I think it's gonna be.
There's a caveat to that. Once you get past a certain length for a cartridge, it actually reduces your accuracy and your velocity because the powder only burns for so long. Once the powder is all burnt out in the barrel, it actually then creates a vacuum because the bullet still has to keep going past the atmospheric pressure or explosive pressure within the gun, and it slows the bullet down again before it reaches the end of the barrel. Now, you've got to have some really long barrels in order to get to that point, but that revolver actually, for the revolver, it doesn't actually matter anyways because of the cylinder gap. So that barrel's just slowing it down, period. The cylinder gap means that you're not even getting a whole lot of advantage from the pressure or anything from it.
It'd be really hard to get a consistent sight picture with that thing.
Yes.
You're flagging me with that.
No, I'm not. I'm shooting past you.
Also, the bullets are sticking. What is going on with that thing?
That is a poorly modeled
Oh
gun.
my god.
I'm gonna put a bayonet on it. That way I never even have to get close to the enemy.
He's got this goofy Smith & Wesson 38 special revolver that is so frickin' broken in every conceivable way. Hope has turned her back on me. Let's go. I'm gonna get out of the way of that.
Whoop, what the hell? What? Stairs here. Alright.
Can you stop? Can you stop pointing that thing at me?
Am I invading your personal space a little bit? What is that?
Oh, is that a VSS Ventores?
How the hell have you let them
Hold,
get
please.
far?
Woohoo! I have an integrally suppressed submachine gun now.
Here we go again.
Whoa!
Oh,
Safety
what?
railings missing there.
Safety railings.
What? Thank you for the raid. Hi, Lunar Raven. Hi, thank you. Hello. Been a while since. I don't think we've gotten a chance to use the new raid alert yet. Hi, welcome raiders. I am not feeling well, so it's just React Night. I normally play whatever video games I feel like. But tonight we're just reacting to some Zach's gun rants because I am not feeling well. Though this is at least waking me up, which is good. But yes, hi, welcome. I am Zyfax. I am a Chimera VTuber. I have switches. What just happened? What? No, why? Why would you do that? No!
Sorry, I just threw up a little bit looking.
Where's the VSS Ventores? Okay. I am sick tonight. I'm in a little bit better mood than I've been in most of the day, though, because I've been streaming and it has been a very good night. Yeah, I am normally a variety game streamer. I just kind of play whatever I feel like. Though, when January rolls around, we will be doing Chat Plays Divinity Dragon Commander, where you guys get to make the choices. Thank you for the follow as well. That is much appreciated. So, stick around for January for some chat playing that. But yeah, I'm normally a variety game streamer. I'm just taking it easy tonight. And yeah, we're reacting to Zach's gun rants. We finished part 1 just a little bit ago, and we're now in part 2. Yep, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, I don't really have a set spiel on who I am and what I do. I guess the only other thing to point out is please check out my solo in the description, in the links, because I stream and upload a ton of places because I like to take the spaghetti on the wall approach where I just throw stuff out and see what sticks. Also, we seem to have a history of streaming platforms having a bad day sometimes, so that lets you just pick whatever platform works best for you and watch there. I'm currently streaming at 10 places right now. YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, Passes, Picardo, DLive, VStream, Facebook. How many is that? I think that's every place. Yeah, one time only Picardo worked. That was a weird night. Yeah, that was really weird. It's like Picardo was the only thing running for some unknown reason. I don't know why. Yeah, my multiple output thing is getting a workout. Oh, VStream, duh, VStream, the new one. I'm on VStream now. This is our first night on VStream. And another time only YouTube works, so that was a strange night too. Yeah, but because of the fact that we just have nights where only 1 or 2 platforms decide to work, and I never know which ones it's going to be, I just stream everywhere and hope you guys can watch someplace. I think mechanically and setup wise, VStream is great. They've only made one decision I kind of have some issues with, but I really like that you can stream, upload, and use it as a social media place, which I need to get better at, though I just found it this week, so it's a habit I haven't built yet. I love its setup. I love how it looks. I like that it already has some good OBS integrations. VStream is good in that way. I don't like that it requires you to have 300 followers to monetize. I think that having high monetization bars is a mistake for platforms because if you have a really low or no monetization bar, well, then that's more people monetized. That's more money the platform's making, you know? Instead of saying, oh, we only want big people that are drawing a lot of money from one place, get as many people as you can monetized for maximum profits. So, and that's the only thing that worries me, that whenever platforms decide we're going to compete and then they do that, historically they have not done well. So I am a little worried for VStream because everything else about it is great. I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it fail, but I think having that high monetization bar is worrying for their ability to make money. Because then it pretty much requires you to have a pre-built fan base that's willing to jump ship from the get-go if you want to even have a chance. And a lot of people with a pre-built fan base are just going to say, no, I'm going to stick to the platform where I already have people. So that's just my little warning if you're using VStream to watch out for that. But I do still encourage VTubers and anyone who likes it to go over there because I really like the platform as a platform. So there's my little spiel about VStream. I am very distractible and I am prone to rambles, which is part of the reason why we're doing the Zach Gun Rants, because I will ramble on these. It's a good way for me to keep interacting with the stream in spite not feeling well. Anyways, I think that's been enough. Let's get going, shall we?
What is that?
Oh, is that a VSS Ventores?
How the hell have you let them
Hold,
get
please.
far?
Woohoo! I have an integrally suppressed submachine gun now. Whoa!
Careful, the safety railing's missing there.
Safety railings, please.
The VSS Ventores.
Must be
huh?
Russian.
Yeah, it's in 9x39.
What makes it so cool?
Well, the original VSS Ventores is technically a semi-auto rifle, but it's
The VSS Ventores sounds like the name of a ship cruiser.
So the VSS Ventores is a Russian gun that's in 9x39, which is a really, really heavy bullet. They basically took a 9mm round and jammed it in the end of an AK-47 bullet.
Normally that doesn't work well.
It's real heavy. It's
like that?
Ow! 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 Ow!
You like that?
It's somewhat slow, but it's subsonic, so it hits like a truck.
When you say subsonic, I think silenced weapon.
Yes, it is supposed to be a suppressed gun.
But it still hits like a truck?
Yes, because it's a really heavy bullet.
Yep, that's the same concept behind
This is an
45
actual
ACP.
Colt M4A1. What the hell? Oh man, this thing's dope. I want to use this now.
Alright.
I need a bunch of 5.56 rounds. The rear sight on the M4 has like
Ship cruiser Mike, you were a Marine. Yeah, Mike was a Marine, but it's clear he didn't pay any attention to what he was doing.
two settings. One is the like 2 to 600.
Okay,
settings.
I know that. That's the only weapon I'm familiar with, so I do know that. You don't need to educate me on this particular weapon. I am very familiar with it.
I bet.
It's the only weapon I'm familiar. What do you mean you bet? It's the only weapon I'm familiar with.
Technically, all of the 5.56 green tip is light armor penetrating, but whatever. This is the M4A1.
Yeah, so it's the replacement for the M16A4, which itself was a replacement for the M16A2.
Kind of. The M16A4 and the Colt M4A1 both were used by the same organizations at about the same time. So for the Marines, it was a replacement for the M16A4. But
Yes.
for the Army, they would use the M16A4 or the Colt M4A1.
Chronologically, that is how the upgrades went.
That is how the upgrade went for the Marines, yes. But for the Army, it was like a replacement for the M16A2.
Who cares about the Army? They suck.
What, who cares about the Marines? They suck. Marines are always out of money because they gotta go ask Daddy Navy for more money.
Unlike the Army, which loves to piss away money unnecessarily.
Yeah, they do.
So much
The
so.
difference between the M4 and M4A1 is that the M4 is 3-round burst, whereas the M4A1 is full auto and has a heavy barrel.
What do you call the M4 that's not A1 to distinguish it from the other M4 that is an A1?
You just call it an M4.
That's confusing. You should call it the M4A0.
No, you just call it the M4.
Yeah, you could, but that might be confusing to
That
people.
isn't confusing.
It is to people who aren't frequent with M4 parlance.
Your point is null and void.
And that's why I'm calling it the M4A0.
You can do that if you want to, but nobody else is gonna know what you're talking about. I didn't see a peanut.
Okay, just another little thing that put in there with the burst fire versus automatic. The idea behind burst fire is was the idea that poorly trained troops, rather than just let them fire willy-nilly, you put them on burst fire so they are able to fire quickly and put lots of round down target, but they don't just fire willy-nilly, waste all their ammo, and not hit anything. However, American and most other Western nations have switched to the doctrine of just teach your troops trigger discipline, so that instead of holding down on the trigger through the whole magazine, they know to just do like a lot of gamers do, where when you're firing, you're on fully automatic, but you just click quickly. The same thing, but with a trigger. We've established that the Russians still just give their troops burst fire, but one thing that has been established as a problem with this is if you're in a panic and need to fire quickly, a lot of troops are just going to want to hold down the trigger. So if you need to actually have full auto and you're stuck in burst, you hold down the trigger in your panic, you're going to get that burst off, and then that'll be it. You will not have the spray that you actually need in that situation. So that's and that's actually a proven problem that's statistically an issue. So that's why the decision was made. Nope, we're just going to have automatic and teach people how to have trigger discipline.
Oh god, there's a token. Oh, and it's only 38 cap.
They are junk
Fucking
guns.
Tokarev.
I take it a Tokarev is not a good gun.
It's
No.
a fucking piece of trash is what it is.
Buy it. Show me.
All right.
Buy those wrenches too, because it sounds like we might need to fix it. Yeah?
Behold the Tokarev. Yeah, it's pretty shit.
That seems decent enough.
The Tokarev is pretty much a copy of a Colt 1911, only in like the worst ways possible.
Yep.
The Tokarev TT-33 is to the Colt 1911 what an Arbani suit is to an Armani suit.
Yep.
You see that little C-clip on the right-hand side of it right there?
On the barrel?
No, underneath the slide. This little C-clip right there. That holds the pins in place.
That holds the weapon together?
Yeah, pretty much. And sometimes when you're shooting this, that clip will come off, and then the gun will go blat and just fall apart. It's kind of a piece of junk. Originally, it was in 7.
And then the German method of putting both on as an engine. Oh, for the automatic and burst fire? Yeah. You can do that, but it does drastically complicate a gun, which you really don't need to do.
6.2 by 25, which is just an absolute zipper of a cartridge. They're such hot pieces of garbage.
Let's murder the next man with it.
I learned how to like disassemble and repair the Tokarev TT-33. The advice we generally got was, yeah, don't worry about repairing it, just throw it out, you'll find another one.
Really?
I feel like I could do more damage if I smacked someone in the head with a graphing calculator than I could by shooting at them with a high point.
Those things are heavy.
I'm going to contest this point. High points are ugly, heavy pistols. It is nigh on impossible to destroy them. They have a low ammunition count. They're a huge gun with a single stack magazine. They've got a brick of a slide, but I've used a high point before. Yeah, high points work. Also, hi, Luxon VT. High points work. That's the thing about them. And because they have a fixed barrel, they are accurate. So as junky as they are in terms of manufacturing quality, and yeah, they are super cheap. The reality is, if you need a gun that you know is actually going to work and be accurate of all things, a high point is actually in that category. think I saw one for, yep. There was a time when you could get, high points were generally sub $100 guns. I think that with inflation, they are now sub $200 guns. But yeah, high points get a lot of flack for being cheap and crappy looking. But they're actually, like I said, they have it where it counts. They're reliable, they're accurate, and because they have that massive grip, which makes it easy to hold on, and because of their weight, actually, they're good for new people. And they're good for people that aren't familiar with guns, because all that weight massively reduces their recoil. The big grip makes them also helps cushion the recoil. So for a new person learning how to shoot, the High Point is actually a really good gun because it doesn't like to jump around a lot. Sounds like a gun custom made for use in martial arts movie. Actor reaches out, pulls C clip, gun falls apart, everyone clap. Yeah, for the Tokarev. Yeah, probably. Those pins do really have a tendency to just fall off and get lost too.
You know, normally on a gun, if I want to load around on this thing, I can take the mag out, put the mag in, and then pull a slide back like this. A High Point, you can just hold the High Point straight up in the air and then rip your arm back real fast, and that'll chamber around into it.
It has a massive
safe.
brick of a
No,
slide.
it really isn't. But if you need a gun and you need it real cheap, you can get a High Point for $120.
And
Or
you
just
need it
pick
to
up a rock
work.
for all the effectiveness.
Hey, fella, what?
Oh, God.
Look up some of the torture tests people have put High Points through. I'm serious. People have put High Points through some insane torture tests, and it's kind of scary the stuff that they will still work with. That the gun just will safely still fire, even though you've like hammered a big spike into the barrel.
God damn it. Just take my guns.
Here, have the Tokarev.
Hopefully he forgets that I gave it to him and just keeps it. I think it's a frickin' monkey's paw. Yep, hunting a revolver with a scope in 4570 government. I have no desire to use this.
Wait,
Safari
what?
Hunters in a
Because
nutshell.
It's a hunting revolver and a powerful caliber?
I don't want to use scoped weapons.
Wait, not even for long-distance sniping?
This isn't a long-distance sniper rifle. It's a revolver.
So you do want to use scopes, just not on your revolver.
Where did I even find a speed loader in 4570?
That's a pretty good question, actually.
That's the thing you're thinking about.
Where did I even find a speed loader in 4570 for
Oh,
that
you can
thing?
still find one
That
for
makes no sense.
$9,999. Nice.
You know, I actually just realized something. The charging handle on this AUG moves when I shoot it. The AUG has a non-reciprocating charging handle.
Oh, that's a glitch. It's an error.
It's not a glitch. It's just whoever did this didn't know that the AUG did that.
Or
Not
did
everybody
and didn't
knows
want to
everything
model.
about guns, Zach.
I don't know everything about guns.
You sure?
Yeah.
You could fool some people.
I do not know everything about guns. There's a lot of stuff I don't know.
Like...
How am I gonna
Yes, the C9 Yeet Cannon. No, seriously, that's what the High Point is called.
tell you about what I don't know?
What? Well, tell me something you don't know about this Steyr AUG. You probably don't know the year it was created.
I know the year it entered service.
Yeah, exactly.
1977.
Oh, okay. Then you probably don't know it's a 5.56.
Yes, I do.
Oh, then you probably don't know about the A1 variant.
This one has a scope that's permanently part of the receiver assembly. The A1 variant, the scope can actually come off. Actually, technically, the one I own is a Steyr AUG A3M1.
Okay, I take it back. You do know everything about guns.
No, I don't! I don't know everything about guns! I got an AK-40... I got an AK-74 and I'm itching to use it.
You keep on accidentally calling it the AK-47.
Yeah, I'm not a huge AK fanboy, so it doesn't really matter to me.
It's
Brandon
an AK
Herrera
number,
would like to
who
have
cares?
words.
Yeah, it's an AK. I got an AK and I'm itching to use it.
I also have an Alaska.
You get a lot of people that get all bent out of shape when you start calling them, like, when you refer to an AKM as an AK-47. They're like, oh, actually, there's a difference because the AK-47 is a milled receiver and the AKM is a stamped sheet metal receiver, and technically that one's a post-57 AK-47. It's just like, shut up, okay? Nobody cares.
So, is it the AK-47 because it was the 47th patent?
No, it's the AK-47 because that's when I entered service, and technically anything that is like this one, that's a stamped sheet metal receiver, that would make it an AKM, except that it's not an AKM, because it's in 545 by 39, so whatever. Oh, we gotta go to the Ironworks. I was following my compass and I realized I went the wrong way because I started ranting about guns. Adventure!
I have done that.
Was that an adventure?
That was negligent discharging of your weapon.
That was me shooting. I wasn't a negligent discharge. I did it on purpose. I shot the rock on purpose.
Yes, and it's very negligent of you.
So many of my friends know of the AKs, and I'm like, because, yeah, I'm not the biggest AK fan either.
Not negligent,
I don't
did it
hate
on
the guns, but I
purpose.
also don't.
I'm not saying it's
I know what's
care.
behind my target.
Did I say accidental? I don't think I did. It's intentional negligence.
There wasn't negligent though. I knew what I was doing. I can see the rock. I can see what's behind it. I intended to destroy the rock.
And it could you don't
The
think
one
we could
time
probably
Mike is
ricochet off of
correct.
it?
No, of course not.
Ricochets don't exist.
No, I was using frangibles.
Flechet rounds.
No, frangibles are. It's usually like a copper jacket with like powdered lead on the inside of it.
Full
Not a
of
fan of a gun
copper
that jams
jets.
like you in a
It's
second
still a
mag.
jacket, but then the moment it hits anything, the bullet basically just disintegrates.
Hooray! I learned things about guns, and you learned things about English.
Joke's on you! I didn't learn anything about English. Woo! When did I get this? It looks like some kind of AK. Maybe an AK-12?
I don't even think AKs go that low.
They do. AK-400.
Significantly more than what you said.
The rear sight is odd in that it's mounted to the rail system, and also it
I know
looks like
nothing
it's
about
based
this
on
one.
a
There will
like
be no
RPK
rants.
rear sight?
It kind of looks like an M16 or an M4.
No, it does not look like an M16 or an M4. You see how the top cover looks like the little Fast Freddy silhouette? That's how you definitely know that it's an AK.
Just like in the M16.
No, not like in the M16. It also apparently has a side-folding stock, and I see a 1 on there, which leads me to believe it's got a collapsing M4 stock on it. Where'd it go?
Oh, it's gone forever now.
Oh, God. Seriously?
No, it's
What?
here.
Oh, Jesus. So, yeah, it's just a modified AK. That looks kind of like an
Prototype
Ergo grip
for
that's on
the,
there. That looks kind of like an Ergo stock.
well,
but
the
it
new
does have a
AK-12.
collapsing M4 style stock
Told
on it.
you.
Which is absolutely
The
terrible.
muzzle device is different.
Absolutely
It looks
terrible.
like a modified AK-74 muzzle device. It has an adjustable gas system too. That's interesting.
Is that useful for anything?
Adjustable gas systems are useful if the weapon gets fouled, because then you just set it on the adverse settings. It's also useful if the weapon gets like muddy or dirty, and if you're running some kind of suppressor on the front of it, you might want lower gas pressure.
Just like in the M16.
No, Mike, it's not like in the M16 doesn't have an adjustable gas system. It's direct impingement.
Nothing could stand up to the M16 you're wielding.
It's not an M16. It's an AK-400.
Love
It's
how
a
he
fantasy
says
rifle,
that.
though, right?
I don't know. There might be an AK-400. There's so many different AKs. There's like the AK-101, the AK-112, the AK-12, the AN-94. There's too many different ones. I can't remember all of them.
It disintegrated. I don't think you did that with ballistics.
Whoa!
Okay, so rest. Have a good one, Leonard. Thank you for the raid, and have a good night. Mike, stop trying to get shot. He said that he has a fetish for getting shot, so I think he's going to keep trying to get shot. And yeah, I don't remember. Does he talk about the AK-12? He does not talk about the AK-12. The AK-12 is an absolutely... Okay, so... The AK-12 is the current battle rifle for Russia. It is a step backwards from the AK-74. The Russian government basically said we want an updated rifle for the updated world. So it has a front guard that has a tendency to flex and break off. It does have the M4 style stock, except it uses, I believe, a proprietary mechanism, so it can't swap out with regular M4 style stocks. It struggles to hold zero. It has a burst fire mechanism that is unreliable, so you never know how many bursts it will fire. And the front heat shield actually does not go forward far enough, so it's easy to burn your hand on the hot barrel. And it's just generally a very low quality gun. It's actually so bad that the Kalashnikov factory said, we will produce upgrade kits for AK-74s that will make them better than the AK-12 and do it for less money than it costs than it does to manufacture AK-12s. Please let us do this instead, And the Russian government said, no, we want AK-12s. We want an updated rifle for Update World and got exactly none of what they asked for. That is exactly what happened. Look into it. It is cheaper and more effective to just buy an AK-74M and buy an upgrade kit, like, was it Zeneco? Is that the company? So I think it's Zeneco. Buy an upgrade kit that adds all the modern stuff to it than it is to go with the AK-12. It is an incredible example in military incompetency.
Oh, trench shotgun.
Didn't seem to help that guy.
At least the shotgun fared better than he did.
But I don't know if it's gonna be used.
But
for
at
those
least
robots.
it isn't a bullpup.
This is not a trench shotgun.
Yeah,
This is
bullpup
a
AKs are
Winchester
bad.
1887 and the Winchester 1897
There are some bullpups that are kind of neat. Bullpup AKs are bad.
was the trench gun.
But wouldn't any shotgun that gets thrown in a trench be, by definition?
Yes, by definition, it will be a trench shotgun, but the one everybody calls the trench gun is a Winchester 1897. This is a Winchester 1887. You can tell it because it's a lever action shotgun. The other one is a pump action shotgun.
So it's deceptive marketing.
I got this thing. What the hell is this?
Yeah, happy birthday. It's a gun.
Happy birthday to me. This looks like a Daewoo.
I don't know what a Daewoo is. It sounds Japanese.
Or a... Well, no, Daewoo is Korean. It's either a Daewoo or it's a Japanese, right? It looks like it's got a...
Mag at the back is too cumbersome for me. That depends entirely on the mag release system. If it's a good release system built for the bullpup, it's great. AK release systems are not made for bullpups, so they're not.
Xanthemum on it?
It looks like it's got a samurai helmet on the sight.
It looks like the Japanese muzzle brake on like the Type 103 or something.
I believe it is a type, yes.
Well, I mean, because that definitely looks like Japanese characters on the selector.
Yeah.
I can see a 3, and then one I'm assuming is safe, one is probably semi, one is 3-round burst, and one is full.
Oh, that's probably what the 3 is, 3-round burst.
Yeah. Got those sights there. There's a big hole for where the charging handle should go through because it's a reciprocating charging handle. That's straight.
You most of the time having to aim the game straight up to access the mag to comfortably reload. But yeah, but it's fairly easy to just kind of like, I don't know if my tracking will let me do it, but to just kind of like either shift your arm up, or again, if you have a good release system, you don't even have to do that. You just kind of like reach under, drop it, and swap in. But you need a really good release system for that one.
Ish magazine leads me to believe it's 5.56. It's either a Daewoo K1 or it's the Japanese type. I think it's like a 103 or something.
How familiar are you with Japanese assault rifles?
Not super familiar because they don't really exist outside of Japan.
Japan not known as a
SDF,
huge weapons
yeah.
exporter.
No, they don't really make a whole lot of guns for export. Actually, a lot of Browning guns are made in Japan and then sold in the US. So a lot of Browning bolt-action rifles are made by a company called Miroku in Japan.
I was unaware.
Anyway, I think it's like the Type 103, maybe Type 94, but Type 94 might be the Chinese rifle.
You're pretty close.
Type 89!
That's that, all right.
Let's take a look. Where'd it go?
Where'd you drop it?
I dropped it and it just Oh, it launched all the way over here.
All right. Well, what are those rubber rifles? Yep, they bounce a lot.
Yeah, so that's a Type 89. It's the Japanese standard issue rifle, and the first thing that indicated that to me was the muzzle brake.
Is that a distinct muzzle brake?
Yeah, that's a very distinctive muzzle brake that the Type 89 is like one of the only guns that uses. And I just couldn't remember because I have too many gun numbers in my head
Yeah.
and they get confused. And it's not one that I see on a daily basis. I think it entered service in like mid to late 80s, hence the Type 89.
Oh, they didn't go through 88 previous types to get to it?
No, I think the Japanese do the year it entered service or something along those lines, because the reason this throws me off is there's actually a few guns that are slightly different. Like there's one that's the SIG SP-2022, which is a handgun, and the only reason it's called the SP-2022 is not because that's when it entered service. It's when it was projected to exit service.
We've already been over this. There are no standard naming conventions.
No, there aren't. There's so many different ones. But anyway, yeah, that muzzle brake is very distinctive to the Japanese rifle. I believe there's a company, I think it's JP Enterprises. They make what's called the, or it might be the Type 89 muzzle device, but you can buy one of ththose muzzle devices for your AR-15.
Well, I've never heard of this particular rifle before, but it's got to be pretty reliable. I mean, look at all those holes in it.
That doesn't make it more reliable, Mike.
You're right, it doesn't, but it does make it go faster.
Anyway, it's a really cool looking rifle, and I kind of wish that I could actually get my hands on one in person, but this is probably as close as I'll ever get to that.
So just enjoy it, as well as this other shotgun I got you.
Ooh, what is it?
Okay, before he gets to the shotgun, don't know why they don't just use P90 system instead, so easy to reload and doesn't get in the way. Because the P90 system took a lot of work in order to make it work reliably, and it only works reliably for the 5.7 millimeter that I think it's 5.7 millimeter that it is designed for. Unfortunately, you'd have to basically go through the design process again for other calibers. Plus, you have the issue that the round that the sideways in the magazine, you're going to end up with a really wide top of the gun if you're going to use that for any traditional assault or battle rifle type system, and it's going to make the gun very, very difficult to use. Generally speaking, one of the advantages or not advantages, but one of the ergonomic decisions in most combat rifles is just the flat design for convenience, and trying to put, say, 5.56 sideways across that design is you're either going to end up with a T-shaped firearm with a really awkward rotating mechanism in order to mimic what the P90 does, or you're going to end up with a box-shaped weapon with a lot of unused space, or you're going to end up with a weapon that is flat sideways instead of flat up and down, which is going to be very awkward to use and look like something like the, what is it, G11? Maybe? Yeah, something like a G11-ish type weird space gun, except flat boxy instead of boxy, I guess.
The WA-101 Tactical Shotgun.
All right, so what do we got here? We have the foregrip of a Thompson submachine gun. We have the sights of a Thompson submachine gun. We have the bolt mechanism of what looks to be modeled after a Remington 1100. It's got Picatinny rails on the sides and top of it. A muzzle device that doesn't really...
G11s were a nightmare waiting to happen. Yes, they were.
Really go to it. The back of some type of pump action or semi-automatic shotgun, along with the stock from an FN rifle. So it's just made out of a bunch of different stuff.
It's also got a weird-looking magazine.
Yeah, the magazine looks like they took a BAR mag and just modified it.
It's got to be based on a real shotgun, right?
The receiver looks like it's modeled after a Remington 1100, or just some semi-auto shotgun.
Sure.
Other than that, no.
Kind of looks like, is that a Benelli? It kind of looks like it could be a Benelli
yeah, it's imaginary
bolt mechanism
of
at
parts.
least.
It looks like it was kit bashed.
Kit bashed?
Yeah.
Like someone assembled a bunch of different parts together?
Yeah, they just took parts from different kits and slapped them all together and made it look like this thing. What caliber is this?
12 gauge?
I guess it could be 12 gauge, but that barrel does not look big enough to be 12 gauge. I can generally fit most of my thumb into a 12 gauge barrel, and I don't think I could fit most of my thumb into that. It looks like it'd be a 410 gauge. It says it's 12 gauge, which, unrelated note, I have 666 extra 12 gauge rounds.
Right.
666, the number of the beast. 6.
Okay.
6.
Maybe it's not your standard 12 gauge round. Maybe it's 12 by 19 parabellum rounds.
God,
Shoot him
shut up.
again.
Whatever. Mike, you need to know that if you get 3 gun nerds together, the only thing that they will agree on is that one of them is wrong.
He's accurate. This is true.
Two of us here, we're just gonna be bickering back and forth as to which weapon system is better.
What do you mean, two? Are you not including me in that grouping?
You're not a gun nerd.
How dare you? I have learned so much in our travels.
Uh-huh. All right.
Ask me any question about guns. I will answer it.
What's your favorite gun?
I like the M16A4.
Guess it's the only thing he knows.
The M16A2 I am familiar with, but a bit better, shorter, more practical.
It It's not any shorter. The M16A4 is the exact same
Oh,
length as the A2.
Sorry, yes, the M4 is the one that's. I'm thinking of.
Okay.
See, I know what I'm talking about.
All right. fine.
Barely.
As long as you don't ask me anything about anything besides those 3 guns.
What's your favorite handgun?
The Beretta 92F.
That's because that's the only one you know.
No, I also know about the Colt 45.
What's your
Which
third
Colt
favorite handgun?
45?
The Mosin Nagant.
That's
Oberez.
not a
The,
handgun.
the compact version.
Oh my god. That's not a handgun.
If you saw off the stuff.
The Oberez is technically a pistol Mosin Nagant that sets off like a, I don't know, 4-foot wide fireball in front of it whenever you fire it, because it is a hilariously short barrel for a round that has too much powder for a normal Mosin length. Forget a shortened Mosin length, because it was designed to be used in like tank and aircraft. No, I have never heard of the Liberty 3T. You like 4-foot fireballs.
Doc.
No, then it becomes an Oberez, and they're a nightmare.
You should look it up. I'll look it up whenever we're done.
An Oberez is a Mosin Nagant that the barrel's been cut down to like 4 inches long.
I didn't say barrel. I
Top
said
mounted
stock.
mad pistol.
The barrel has been cut down to 4 inches long, and they completely removed the stock. So you're now shooting 7.62 by 54R, which is like 5 inches long. You're shooting that out of something that has like a 4-inch barrel. So it's just a fireball the size of you coming out of the end of the gun.
Yeah, who needs shoulders?
What the hell is that?
It's my 3rd favorite pistol.
Oh my god. You found an Oberez?
Yep.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? You
Yep.
make us all go deaf the moment you shoot that thing. You know what knife I really want?
A Bowie knife.
No, there's a knife that Spetsnaz had that shoots a 7.62 round out of the base of it.
That's not a
I
knife,
believe it's
that's
the
a bladed
39.
gun.
No, it's a knife. It just has a very short range gun built into it.
So it's got a gun built into it.
Yeah, it's a knife with a gun that technically. So it is kind of a bad idea because you do kind of have to point the knife at your own face in order to aim it. And if you're not careful with a recoil, you will just stab yourself in the face. So that is kind of a bad idea. But I want it because it's mechanically interesting and cool.
I don't
It's
like
also a
the fact
bad
that you
idea.
have to shove a blade in your eye to look down the sight.
You don't shove the blade in your eye. You hold it out in front of you with the blade pointed backwards. You know,
And then the
you want it to
recoil
extend
shoves
your
the
arm. You don't
the
wanna,
blade in your
point
eye.
The blade against your cheek.
Yes.
You're not trying to get a good cheek weld with it. Hey, look, I got a GSH-18.
Special piston-driven round designs.
What,
Oh,
you had
okay.
a special handgun.
Yeah, he had a weird Russian handgun.
Ooh, what? That's really weird looking.
Yeah, it's a GSH-18. It's kind of funny that the ejection port is once again on the top of it.
So hot lead shoots out the top.
Yeah, but if you look at the front of the barrel, you can see how it's got like those weird little lines on it.
Mm-hmm. Ridges.
Yeah, the barrel's like finned. I can't remember if it's a rotating lug barrel or not, which would be just really strange in and of itself. I don't know a whole lot about this because I've only like casually researched it. I haven't done a lot of research.
Ah, this is not one of the ones you're privy to.
No, not really. And like I only casually researched it because I'm never going to be able to own one. So, I mean, as far as I know, they work decently well. They really only issue them to like certain troops in Russia.
It is a
There's
rotating
not a
barrel.
lot of
That's
people
really
that get
weird.
them. The reason for the ridges
18
on the top are 1,
18
so it
locking
gives you
lugs.
extra,
Good grief.
something extra to grip on when you have to pull the slide backwards.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason is by putting ridges on the top, when you have sun beating down on the gun, it reduces. Thank you, Mike. It reduces.
Can also
the
just
glare
use a
that you get
blued
from the iron
finish.
sights.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you don't get as much sunlight reflecting off the top of your slide.
A blued
and,
finish
like,
is better.
Flashing out your iron sights, making them harder to see.
Seems like there would be benefits, but at the same time, those ridges would probably make it a bit more of a pain to clean.
Not really. You just kind of scrub it with a toothbrush or whatever.
Well, if it's so convenient and useful, why don't all guns have those ridges?
Because it increases manufacturing costs. You have to spend time to machine every one of those notches out.
Use 9x21 AP rounds specifically designed to fit in the gun and nothing else. Oh, of course. Of course. Here we go again.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you more about this because I honestly don't really know a whole lot about it.
I thought your mind was a endless encyclopedia, a vacuum of knowledge.
I know that it's a 9mm pistol. I know it's from Russia. I know that they're not exactly standard issue, but they are issued to the Russian military.
Can you believe this guy, Elias, doesn't know everything about every gun ever made?
I think the top of it is actually like a little loaded chamber indicator and like.
And it
pops up
uses a
little
regular
bit,
9x19. Good
which it's
grief.
not doing on this one because they can't really model complex guns like that.
What does KS stand for?
It stands for Carbine Special, so Special Purpose Carbine.
Oh, okay. But where did the 21 come from?
The 23, it comes from the millimeters of the barrel. Because like I said, the barrel for this is just from an anti-aircraft cannon that didn't meet specifications.
Is this one of those Russian weapons that's hodgepodge together?
Yes.
I don't know. I know the barrel definitely is. They were like, well, the barrel can't handle the high pressure of an anti-aircraft cartridge, but it definitely can handle the pressure of a low-velocity grenade.
So we'll just take this anti-tank cannon and make it a pea shooter.
Yeah, we'll take this anti-tank cannon and make it fire grenades and also buckshot and less lethal cartridges. Though, to be fair, I think the Russian less lethal cartridges are more... It's still very lethal and will hurt very, very badly. And it might not kill you, but it also might kill you.
Yes. You were really excited when you found this gun.
Keep in mind that they had enough anti-aircraft barrels that didn't meet specification for them to make a whole shotgun model out of it. Think about that.
Yeah.
You like the novelty of it, or is it a good gun?
I like the novelty of it. I just think it's really cool having a shotgun that's a 23mm barrel.
Right. I wouldn't imagine it to be a good gun if it's, with the history that it has.
Well, I mean, it's not bad. It's like a good... So you know the grenade launcher I normally use?
Yeah.
Basically the same thing, only...
It looks like a shotgun.
Only heavier rifling and slightly smaller.
It looks like a sawn-off shotgun.
Yeah, it does. They also make a wire stock for it, which I've heard is not fun to shoot.
Well, if this thing has that much kickback, you're just jamming wires into your shoulder when you fire it.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of wire side-folding stocks anyway, because it is like trying to shoot with a chunk of rebar stuck to your face. So it's not exactly pleasurable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am super interested in this, and this might be real fun to use.
All right, I look forward to it.
Kind of wish I had some shotgun shells for it, though, because I would like to just unload a 23mm shotgun shell onto something. It's not going to be good for long range, but man, 23mm of shotgun shell hitting somebody from 4 feet away.
Is that a Glock?
Yep, that's
Here we
a
go.
Glock. That is 100% a Glock. I can tell by the takedown levers that are right there, but in front of the trigger. He's got a Glock as well. See, that is a Glock 18. I can tell by the selector lever right there.
Of course you can.
That is a Glock 18 because Glock 17s do not have that selector lever. Oh, it's not full auto though.
It's a semi-auto Glock.
9mm compact pistol.
Ooh, that one's got a green glow sight.
Yeah, which Glock sights don't actually glow like this, but you know, whatever, it's cool.
Could be aftermarket.
I can tell it's a Glock 18C because you can see the cutouts on the top of the slide right behind the front sight, and it looks like there's small cutouts on the barrel.
I bet you that we can take these weapons without murdering these guys.
Oh, probably, but I mean, I don't really need it.
You got a Glock 17 and a Glock 18 then.
They're both modeled after a Glock 18. This one would be the Glock 18C, which is the compensated fully automatic Glock, or select fire. This one would be a Glock... Well, it technically wouldn't exist because it's a fully automatic version of a 10mm Glock, which I think is the 21.
Is this one fully automatic?
Well, it's got the full automatic lever on it. There are Glock numbers from 17 until...
Aren't Glocks hard to get aftermarket sights for? I don't know. I've never looked into aftermarket sights for Glocks. I mean, they're common enough. I would assume that whether or not Glock has approved of them, they're out there. I'm not a Glock person. I don't own one. I've never really looked into it.
48.
What, they skip 1 through 16?
Glocks are named after what patent number they were. So 17 was the Glock company's 17th patent. The Glock 18 is the fully automatic one because it was their 18th patent. The Glock 19 is a compact 9mm, and it was their 19th patent.
I've heard of the Glock before. Why are they so popular?
Because they're relatively inexpensive for an incredibly reliable and robust and well-made handgun.
They're that good, huh?
Yeah, they're very,
And-
very good handguns. They're often referred to as America's handgun, despite the fact that they're Austrian.
One of 16 other
A lot of
curtains.
police departments use.
I think you're right.
Usually, police departments were for the longest time using them in 40 Smith and Wesson, or as I like to call it, 40 Short and Weak,
Eh.
or 10 millimeter short.
How do you really feel about that caliber?
I don't like 40 Smith and Wesson. It's completely pointless. I didn't like 40 Smith and Wesson even when it was popular. I thought it was dumb.
But you always like to hate on popular things. That's nothing new.
40 Smith & Wesson was originally designed because in the 1980s, the FBI wanted to move away from 9mm. The FBI at the time was using 9mm handguns, but they were just using full metal jacket rounds. Only special units were allowed to use hollow point bullets.
Okay.
So the FBI wanted a round with more, quote, stopping power, which is not a real thing. They wanted a round...
Transferred joules. How many joules does the bullet carry and transfer to the target on impact? Smart Smith & Wesson comes from a dumb place, but it's not like it's a useless round, though it is wimpier than the 10mm. The big advantage of 40 Smith & Wesson these days is because it wasn't, and still isn't as popular as 10mm and 45 ACP and 9, is when there's a run on ammunition, like there was in 2020 and 2021, you can pick it up for cheap. That is its big advantage. The fact that it remains cheap longer than most other calibers. Though that may have now changed because of that run. I haven't looked recently. I don't have a 40 Smith & Wesson gun either.
You mean it's not a real thing?
Stopping power is not a real thing. That's not a quantifiable measurement.
It'll
Joules carried and transferred to the target.
stop it in the sense that it'll be dead.
Stopping power is not a quantifiable thing.
Okay.
The FBI wanted a round with more kinetic energy behind it. So they had 10 mil designed. 1mm larger than 9mm, but it's got a whole fuck ton more powder behind
Oh
it.
yes, the cartridge is much
It's got
longer.
a lot of powder behind it, so those rounds are just coming out of there real fast.
They've got all these different calibers of bullet. 9mm, 10mm, 11mm, etc., etc. And it doesn't really matter what the size of the bullet is. All that matters is the amount of powder behind it.
Pretty
To a
much.
point, Yeah, because there's a rifle that's in 22-250, which you think, oh, 22, that's tiny. Well, yes, the bullet is real tiny, but it's got like 30 times the amount of powder behind it that the bullet weighs.
Well, now I'm even angry.
It's powder, but it is also, does the bullet actually transfer that force? Because most of these 22 caliber, this is a problem with the 5.56 NATO, which is also a 22 caliber round. The problem is it's so small and pointy that it can have problems transferring the actual force into what it's hitting, which is one of the problems with some of these rounds, and the reason why the military whines about the M16s and M4s are based on the AR-15 platform is that the bullet does not do a good enough job of transferring force by damaging whatever it hits compared to no, transfer doesn't happen so much if it goes through a target as well. 223s tend to, 223/5.56 tends to just go through a soft target. So unless it hits like bone or you're wearing body armor or something, it often will just go in one side and out the other. That's still a traumatic injury. That still hurts. Don't get me wrong, that's still doing damage, but particularly for someone who is in an adrenaline-fueled rage or hopped up on drugs, that's often not enough to actually knock them over because it just went right through and didn't transfer all the force. The concept of quote-unquote stopping power, as people refer to it, is the idea of transferring a lot of force to a target that will actually knock them over off their feet. That's generally what is referred to when talking about stopping power. So big, heavy rounds that don't go through the target, but transfer all the force they're carrying into the target that can knock them over, that is probably the best definition of stopping power when you're getting to actual mechanics of the whole thing. And yes, because of the loose definitions of stopping power, it does become a very strong sticking point. But that's generally how I've seen it. That's how the couple of soldiers and police officers I personally know have discussed it. That it doesn't knock the target over or not. It's not necessarily does it kill them, but does it, well, stop them. Story that I heard from a police officer. Honestly, why don't they just, at this point, the U.S. military just use 50 Beowulf? They waste enough money as is. Because 50 Beowulf is actually relatively short range and uncontrollable. 50 Beowulf is actually difficult for people to control in terms of recoil, especially if it's being fired in automatic. And it actually it transfers an enormous amount of force, but it's actually a pretty sluggish, shortish range round with accuracy problems when compared to 5.56. The military should have gone with like something like 6.5 Creedmoor if they wanted to get a balance between accuracy and hitting power. Instead, they went with Fury, which performs worse than 5.56, is heavy, and doesn't give you a lot of ammunition. It was one of the dumbest decisions in the world. Which is why Nitro Express rounds used to kill elephants were often use flat-nosed projectiles. Exactly. Because you need to transfer as much of that force as possible into the target. Ripley, when someone actually made an argument for punch glove arrows from the green arrow comps because the kinetic transfer was so efficient, I can actually see that. Now, you probably want a better design than just a big punch glove, but that is true. Now, you don't want to get so big that it then, hits too much. It distributes the force too much. Unless you're going for non-lethal, in which case you're good. But yeah, this is why like 45 ACP, in spite being a big, slow, sluggish round, is still seen as having a lot of, again, quote unquote, stopping power, because of the fact that it is a massive, slow round that tends to not over-penetrate as much as smaller, faster rounds. It tends to deliver most or all of the joules in the bullet to whatever it hits. This comes at the cost of being a little less accurate at range and of just being a slower round, so you have to lead the target more. But this is why it's seen as having that increase in stopping power, because all the power it has tends to go into whatever it hits. Now, the police, I was starting to say, story a police officer tells me is when he used 9mm, he actually encountered someone who was hyped up on a certain white powdery drug. He emptied a whole 15-round magazine out of his service pistol into this guy, who the guy did end up dying because he was shot so much. But these were all body shots, and the guy had so much adrenaline and drugs in him that he kept going, and someone else behind him had to finish it by basically firing another set of rounds and deciding, we don't have a choice, I'm aiming for the head. The guy that now he switched to what was it? That's why 357 foot over Magnum rounds. Oh yes, the way better design if you wanted to actually use it, but it was an interesting discussion. Fair, yes. I'm trying to remember. It was like a neck down 10mm. What is it? 357 SIG? Was it now 357 SIG is one that I like because it tries to strike that balance of power, but I can't remember if that was specifically what he switched to. Oh, Sweetie Belle, thank you for the follow. Also, hi and welcome. Hope the night finds you well. Next down 10mm. No, it's definitely not 224 boss. It is definitely not 224 boss. Hello, night's only starting. Well, for you, I'm approaching the end of my. I'm approaching the end of my night. I'm afraid. No, it wasn't Dylan either. I'm pretty sure it was a neck down, 10 millimeter at least. No, it is 357 SIG. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. So yeah, then he is using he did switch to 357 SIG, which I had independently, because I couldn't remember what he used, decided I liked as trying to strike a balance of a high power round in a reasonably controllable and compact cartridge. Oh yeah, it's a parent case, 10 millimeter auto. There you go. So yeah, so he had also come to that conclusion of that, and so yeah, we're gonna get some repeat in that, but yeah, it's just that issue of stopping power of how much force can you deliver to what you're actually hitting to knock it over. You know, a lot of people think in terms of what does it take to kill someone, but in particularly in law enforcement and personal defense, the objective is just to knock over or stop whatever is happening, not necessarily to kill. Now, obviously, killing is a good way to stop what's happening, but if you want something that even if you don't make a kill shot is gonna knock them over. I'm just finding some new people can watch later, more or less. Got to get some paperwork done before Sunday and need a break. I got to do a short story with 500,000 words minimum. That is quite a bit of writing to do. I wish you good luck and welcome you to the channel. Wow, we have been busy tonight. Holy crap. All right, let's get to finish up the Glock rant.
Angrier that there are so many calibers.
Man, you don't even know. There's so many freaking calibers. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I just learned about a new one today. 545.
Yeah, 545. It's the Russian version.
So how many guns besides her Type 91 use that?
545. There's a bunch of different guns, but the most common one is the AK-74.
Yeah, the 545 is Russia's answer to the 556, basically. They saw the general purpose success of the 556, and said, hey, we should do one too. Because the reality is the 7.62 by 39 is a bigger bullet that delivers more of the force that it provides to the target, but it's also slower, shorter range, and less accurate.
That uses 7...
Nope. The AK-47 uses 7.62 by 39. The AK-74 uses 5.45 by 39.
Ooh, you're throwing numbers at me, and it's making me angry.
He is a Marine.
They did that because the Russians wanted a bullet that had better armor or barrier penetration. And 7.62 has too much kinetic energy behind it, so it has a tendency to dump all of its kinetic energy into something instead of trying to punch through it.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. The FBI wanted around with more kinetic energy behind it. So, gun manufacturers came up with the 10mm cartridge, and they sold it to the FBI. The FBI got a bunch of different 1911 styled handguns in 10mm, and then shortly after adopting it went, this has too much recoil, we don't want it anymore. So Smith & Wesson made 40 Smith & Wesson. It's a 10mm bullet with less powder behind it.
Okay, so it's a weaker 10mm.
That's why I refer to it as 40 short and weak, as opposed to 10mm, which is just a freaking screamer of a cartridge.
But why did they have to call it 40 Smith & Wesson?
Because Smith & Wesson designed it. And Smith & Wesson, we ain't using no millimeters on our guns. We use caliber like real Americans.
We like to put our name in the name of our bullet caliber because we're a bunch of assholes. No one else did that, but we're doing it.
Because the FBI had adopted the 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge, a bunch of police departments started adopting the 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge because We want the same caliber that the FBI is using, because look how cool the FBI is. And at the time, a lot of police departments were still carrying like 38 special revolvers.
Yep.
So at the time, 40 Smith & Wesson was not a bad option, because what 40 Smith & Wesson got you was more kinetic energy than 9mm, not as much as 45 ACP, but you get more capacity than 45 ACP.
That is 45's
40
biggest
Smith &
problem.
Wesson was this nice little happy medium, right in between 9mm, which gave you a lot of capacity, but not a lot of stopping power, and 45, which gave you a lot of stopping power, but not a lot of capacity.
Okay.
So 40 Smith & Wesson sat right in the middle there.
I'm juggling a lot of information here.
That ended up becoming a problem because it turned out that 40 Smith & Wesson, it didn't offer that much more of a benefit to 9mm. They found in recent ballistics tests that 40 Smith & Wesson has roughly the same kinetic energy behind it as 9mm, maybe a little bit more, but
Wait,
not much.
Where are we going with this information? What's the overall point you're trying to make here?
Man, I don't know. I completely got. I lost the forest for the trees there.
We were talking.
You got me talking about gun stuff, and I lost the forest for the trees.
We were talking about the differences in the variations of Glocks, and then you started talking about 40 Smith & Wesson ammo types and the history of military.
Yeah, man. Holy shit! Wow, I just like blacked out for a second there. I'm sorry. I just went into like gun store rant.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. Oh god, I feel real bad now. I just wasted like 20 minutes of your time.
I let you keep going. Well, I learned something new. I learned some new things, so it's not a waste of my time.
Anyway, okay, so no, it's because I said that I wasn't a big fan of 40 Smith & Wesson. That's why I went into this whole fucking tangent. Anyway, ballistics have improved substantially in the last
Yes, they
20
have.
years. 9mm hollow points now have just as much, if not more, kinetic energy behind them
Just gonna add more gunpowder.
than a 40 Smith & Wesson.
That's
40
pretty
Smith &
much what they
doesn't
did.
really serve a purpose anymore. To the point.
They pretty much, the average 9mm was made hotter, and then again, you've got the you've got hollow points, and you've got other defense rounds, the ones that kind of look like shotgun slugs and stuff that are just really hot, hot loaded, heavy hitting rounds, and so that was pretty much the actual final response. But of course, 10mm, not 40 Smith & Wesson, but real true 10mm, also saw a massive change up in ballistics. Those hit really hard, and 45 ACP has also seen some improvements as well, though, just because of tradition, older guns and stuff, they do still tend to keep them subsonic. But 45 ACP defense rounds can get really nasty. Got a 45 with 15 mag. Is pistol anymore? 15. FN 545 tech. Nice. Now, keep in mind that in the 80s when this was done, most 45 ACPs were still single stack magazines. So you're looking at maybe 9 rounds tops in a police environment. Now, if you listen to what the news says, you don't need more than 15. But here's the thing. I think the actual statistics say that on average, with a defensive round, you need like a minimum of 8 or 9 shots to bring down an attacker. And keep in mind that that's not including things like hopped up on drugs or multiple attackers. So, 15 rounds is generally the maximum that you can comfortably get into a handgun before you get into ridiculous sizes. But this is why you want to have more than 8 or 9 rounds, because if you need those 8 or 9 rounds for just, 1 out of 4 rounds usually hits. Yeah. So, and remember that my police officer friend who fired 15 9mm rounds into a guy hopped up on white powdery substance and failed to drop him. It took basically another 15 rounds from someone right behind him. Took 30 rounds of 9mm for one guy who was also like 300 pounds, something like that, hopped up on cocaine. I should just say it. I'm not a gun tuber. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not monetized anyways. Most civilian self-defense situations often involve less than 7 rounds fired, but police shootings usually involve more than 30. Yep. But also keep in mind that most self-defense rounds, the person's running. So 7 rounds don't even necessarily stop the person. They're just gone. Also doubt they use hollows as cop. Depends. I think a lot actually do. Also, thank you for the follow, Luxon. Very much appreciated. Yeah, it's very department dependent. I know that the SIG rounds, now that we know they were SIG, I remember what they looked like, but I didn't remember what he called them. But I know that the 357 SIG rounds that the police officer that I know had switched to were hollow points. 100-round pistol drum mag, they make those for some pistols. They're absolutely nuts, but the problem is practicality of carrying them. But yeah, average self-defense round, 7 rounds fired, but something like 40%, I think the FBI said. I'm trying to remember FBI statistics from like months ago. I think like 40% of those, the person is just running. You know, basically you fire rounds and it scares the person attacking you enough that they run because they don't want to be shot. Though I say it was a top mount mag that holds 32 rounds. Nice. Yeah, you can, but I'm betting it's probably, if it's a top mount mag, I'm betting it's a fairly large gun. 32 rounds is definitely a fairly large magazine. Like, for my 1911, I have 28 round drum mags. Those are very big. Those are very large magazines. Yeah, it looks like the blasters in Star Wars. Oh, goody. What most people say about them. Situations where a single shot makes everyone scatter helps pull that average down too. Also true. But this is, that's very true as well. That, you know, a lot of the times it's just, you know, shot fired. Oh, they have a gun. It's loaded and they are willing to use it. I don't want to be here because I don't want to be shot. But again, in situations with a violent criminal, with someone with drug dealers who are a very common reason why you're having to pull out the gun as a police officer, who knows how many shots you need to fire, especially since they may have cartel 8/ATF provided automatics, because ATF keeps accidentally giving guns to drug cartels for some reason. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. But yeah, so 15 rounds, incognito. Well, you kind of just revealed them. But thank you. Kind of just revealed that you're small enough, it's fine. Well, I mean, these will be cut out and uploaded as independent reacts to parts 1 and 2 as well, so sorry to give you a late warning. Sorry. But thank you. You're not supposed to say that quiet part out loud. But yeah, so like my carry is a Hellcat with the short 11 round magazine. 10 round magazine with +1. Oh crap, I need to double check. I need to double check what my what my magazine count is. That's bad. But then I have the bigger 13 and 15 round magazines for it. That's bad that I don't remember how many rounds I have in the default magazine. Don't have to evade restream bot, and no one to evade. You know what I mean? But yeah. So, but yes, having more rounds is definitely good. I know, but you know, for self-defense, then you also get the pocket pistols with like 6 or 4 rounds or something in them. But again, for personal defense, that could be all you need. You know, sometimes it's just one shot, but sometimes it's not. My defense gun is also my home defense gun, so, you know, if someone's breaking into my house, as people have tried, that's a bit more violent than a street encounter. Seen those wallet-sized pistols? Oh yes. There's some tiny ones out there. Look up some of the 22 Super Mag, or Mini Mag or whatever they're called, revolvers that are super tiny. Anyways, let's. I am once again tangenting as I do. Let's finish this up.
Point that most police departments are actually getting away from 40 Smith & Wesson and going back to 9mm.
Yeah, because of how hot they are, as I said.
I knew that there were different types of 9mm ammo.
Mm-hmm.
There was 9x17, 9x18, 9x19 Makarov,
9x21.
I believe
9x25.
that the differences in these types of bullets was the size of the cartridge that it
The
came
length.
The case length, yeah.
in. Yeah, the case length.
For the most part, you're right, yeah.
Does the difference in powder affect it?
Yes, you can use different types of powder. I am terrible with remembering powder types, but you can get different types of powder that burn faster or burn hotter, and that will cause the bullet to exit the gun faster because you're causing a bigger explosion on the inside of the gun.
Are there bullet calibers that are the same bullet size, the same cartridge length, but different powders?
Yes.
And can these similar bullets of varying powders be fired out of the same gun?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
it's not like putting a 9x19 parabellum round in your Makarov.
That would not be good for the gun.
Yeah.
But the differences in the powder don't matter as much.
No, that's what plus P ammo is.
Oh.
Plus P ammo is just a 9mm bullet with more or hotter burning powder behind it.
You know what? When you tell me about overpressure ammo, for some reason, for the longest time, my mind always imagined some kind of pneumatic pressurized system in the bullet. I didn't really put two and two together. It's just more
Mike.
powder.
It's just more powder, yeah.
It's not a pressurized cartridge.
No. I'm glad that you understand that now.
We were supposed to be doing missions for this guy, and instead we shut up a casino and talked about guns for half
Oh
an
my
hour.
god, yeah. What the hell? I am seriously sorry that I just went on that huge gun rant, though.
No one
I
else
did
is.
not. That was not my intention. Look, there's a Glock right over there.
Your eyes glossed over. You couldn't stop.
No, my eyes glazed over. It was just I was in a fugue state. I have no memory of that. I can't be held accountable for it in court.
Your eyelids closed. Text started scrolling, and you were reading the Wikipedia articles.
In my brain, because I've just downloaded things to my brain now.
Yes, the memory bank.
It's just Johnny Mnemonic up in here. Did you ever see that movie again?
No, I haven't.
All right. So yeah, which caused Kentucky Bliss. Yeah. I'm just going to quickly send out the credits for this video. Always credit the original creators. One I've always thought was funny looking at was the 6x5 by 52 Carcano. Yeah, the bottlenose ones are kind of funny. All right, so just gonna finish up here. So for the Kentucky Ballistics one, as mentioned, there we go. Yeah, so Kentucky Ballistics had a 50 caliber round that detonated his gun. I have seen the video. I've seen the follow-up, so I don't know if we're going to react to it or not, since you won't get the visceral freak out at what happened, since I've already know what's coming. He got sabotaged rounds that were probably filled with pistol powder, because pistol powder burns faster and hotter than rifle powder because it has much less barrel in order to get that power out. And it blew up on him, literally in his face, and nearly killed him. He did survive though, so yay. But yeah, that is a demonstration of what happens when a round is way too hot goes off in the gun. You would with me, that is still horrifying. Yeah, it's still horrifying, but like, I know what's coming, instead of being completely freaked out about, holy crap, I can't believe that happened. I mean, I can't believe that happened, but you know what I mean. And it was probably sabotaged ammo that did it, given the estimates of the pressure. Now, something that should be mentioned is the fact that the ammo he was using, was actually not allowed to be used in snipers by the military because the plastic shells that they used have had a tendency to build up in the muzzle brakes and clog the gun, which would also increase pressure. They say it's most likely sabotaged ammo, but I just want to point that out, that can happen with the type of ammo he was using. Let me see. Is there anything else to get into quick before we go for the night? Just a reminder, we'll be back again on Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, as always. We are going to do another reaction to something. Probably, if I'm not feeling well still, might be a long one. If I'm feeling better, short one, followed by actual gaming. So I guess just that alert. Welcome to all the new people. Holy crap! Thank you for the raids. Thank you for the follows. I don't think I've ever had this kind of flood of people in, and I welcome you all and thank you for hanging out and following and watching, and hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Check out my solo for my links to all the places that I do stuff. I am all over the place in trying to add more and fill out and finish things, because like I've said earlier in the stream, I don't like to focus on being locked into one place, because if something goes wrong, you're just cut out. So, like, we've had times when only one of the streaming sites that I've been streaming to has felt like working for one reason or another. So with this setup, you can follow me wherever you want. If one site isn't working, you can go to another one. You know where to find me. You know where to get messages in case something doesn't go through. It's just a way to not have a single point failure, basically. One last thank you. I hope you've all had a great night and enjoyed the stream. Be safe, have great weekends, and I will see you next time.